Welcome along, everybody. We are back. We are here for the 100% League. We are in the south of France as we're just waiting for the lobby to get itself all sorted and underway. And then we'll be cracking on for the French Grand Prix. Of course, the circuit Paul Ricard is the track name. So we'll be taking on the 53 laps of the circuit tonight. Of course, once the short quali is done and dusted, Sick as Muck has left the session. So I'm not quite sure what's going on with him, but he was the reason why we're having a problem there getting the qualifying underway. We have got all of us in the lobby, so we're just ready to get ourselves started for the qualifying. It looks like it's going to be a bit of a wet one as it starts out in this qualifying session, but there we go, we are underway now. So there we go, good stuff indeed, but hopefully Sick as Muck can get himself back in the car. And we have got a nice wet qualifying, but I don't know what it's going to be like in the race. We'll have to find out, but let's have a look and see. But there we go. Then we're going to have to get ourselves sorted as Dan Murphy has retired in the pit lane. So unfortunately, if it is going to be a wet race, it's going to be much more difficult for overtaking, as Sick as Muck has joined us back. So he should be able to get back into his Mercedes as well. But I'm not quite sure what the reason for Sick as Muck's issues there was. So hopefully he's not going to cause any problems as well for the start of the race. We saw, of course, a few problems yesterday for bronze. We had to do a couple of restarts there, unfortunately, for the bronze guys, but they managed to get themselves sorted and underway. And I haven't turned the game audio on, so there we go. We can have a bit of a listen to the cars exiting the pit lane now. We have got a couple of cars out on track already. I think it's Jenna who's leading us away already through turns 3 and 4. But yeah, like I said, there is 53 laps of this track tonight. And of course, once the short qualifying format is done and dusted, they're going to have 16 and a half minutes left to go of the qualifying. Of course, the drivers there, if it is going to be a wet race, will be looking to set their eyes in this qualifying and do a bit of practice laps in these wet conditions as well. But we'll have to find out from our trusty comment section, because of course the drivers, I can't see myself as a commentator, I can't see what's going on for the weather, but we'll have to wait and see what the drivers are going to be telling us from the cockpits and from the garages as well. But so far it looks like it's going to be a very drizzly south of France for the time being, or for this evening I should say, as we get ourselves underway for the qualifying. But there we go then. Good stuff indeed, as Gino there takes us away around the nice long right-hander into Sector 3. And of course will be the first driver to get himself onto the track as well, to set a hot lap, that is in anger. But let's have a look and see how it all unfolds. Like I said, at the moment AC Immortal is in commanding lead of the championship. Both the McLarens have been jumping up very nicely in the standings as well, doing a good job as Kydell and Reflection, so they'll be looking to carry on their form as well in this race tonight. Yellow flags in Sector 3, but I think it's just somebody going slowly there on their laps there, getting themselves sorted as we get underway for the first flying lap here of the qualifying session here with Jenna. And now heading towards turn 1, turn 2 as well. Very easy to lose the car, especially in these conditions as well. But he's managed to negotiate it very nicely indeed in the Williams, and good stuff indeed, heading down towards turn 3 and 4 as well. But looking good at the moment. Like I said, I think we just got a comment. We got Serious Mushroom there saying evening all. I just hope that you can tell me what the weather is going to be. The dry race, the game says. Okay, good stuff. I couldn't understand the rest of that comment, sorry, but like I said, it looks like it's going to be a dry race for the beginning at least anyway. So we'll have to wait and see how it all unfolds in the 53 laps that we're going to have in the next, or after the next 15 minutes or so. Of course, straight after the qualifying, we'll be jumping straight into the race itself as well. So nothing to hold us back tonight. Hopefully we can get ourselves into the race as quickly as possible, and there we go. We can get ourselves underway with those 53 laps that I'll be mentioning over and over again. But there we go then, into Sector 3 we go for Jinner. Of course, Purple in Sector 2 as well. He's the first driver to, of course, set a lap time around the circuit tonight. And, of course, he's going to be the fastest time as well when he gets it on the board, if he can get it over the line. That is. Reflection there has also lost his car keys as well, so he's going to be starting down the order, unfortunately, for the McLaren driver. So maybe looking for that driver of the day candidate once again, but I don't think he's going to get it this time. I think we'll give it to somebody else instead. But there we go then. Good stuff indeed. So here we go, round the final corner now, Jenna, and up to the line. What's it going to be there for the Williams driver? It's going to be in the realms of the 1 minute 40s, I think, just because of those conditions. Are usually around a high 20, a low 30, isn't it? I think in the optimal conditions. And unfortunately for Jenna, there he's a bit far off. Of course, the intermediate conditions are not making it much easier to go as fast as in the dry conditions, of course. So there he is, setting a 42.572 there as the first time to set on the board. AC Immortal has beaten that by almost 6 tenths per second. There is a 1 minute 41, 996 there from the championship leader. Good stuff indeed from AC Immortal. Vintage there. Jenna's teammate has done a 47 there. I think that's just a banker time to getting his sights set there in the other Williams car. Here comes Kiki though, splitting the Williams there with the 44. Up into P3 is the Ferrari driver. Good stuff indeed from him. Siege and Ewok still in the pit. Sick as Muck has managed to get himself back in the car, which is good news, and is able to get himself out onto the track as well. Of course, reserving tonight in the Mercedes, and of course, it was meant to be racing last night in bronze, of course, in the Mercedes as well. But unfortunately, I'm not quite sure what the issue was for him. He didn't have a technical issue, I don't think. He just didn't take part in the restarted race, the feature race, of course, which was good, had some good points on offer, of course. But yeah, unfortunately for Seckers Mark, didn't take part in the feature race. He did take part in the sprint last night, but of course the gold, silver and bronze this week we're in Austria, and we're taking on the Red Bull Ring here for the sprint event as well. Last couple of days or so over the week, and now we're in France. Of course, we're a week ahead, of course, in the land of the 100% league, because it gives everybody a bit of practice as well. I was speaking to Ginner as well. Ginner was saying it's really helped him and get some good points, get some good concentration there for the 50% races in this racing in the 100% league, because then he's got a lot more patience and a lot more consideration with track limits and that sort of thing in the 50% races as well. And that we can see from Ginner there, getting some great results in bronze in the last couple of weeks or so. And it's really translating there into success for Ginner as well. We're up in P2 for the time being. Seckers Muck there does slot himself into P3, 42.5 as well, but he's just off Ginner's time at the moment. AC Mortal's gone even faster there with the 41.2 as he goes for a second run on the same set of tyres. So he's got a bit more fuel in that car to go a bit longer. Of course, we've seen in real life qualifying as well, the cars get a bit more fuel added on board when it's a bit wet in qualifying, so they can go for a couple more runs than they would do rather than just a one shot on one set of tyres. So there we go. Kaidel there jumps up to P2 there with a 42.3 as well. He's improved there, almost within the in the realms of the 41s, but he's got quite a bit of a margin there to AC Immortal, who's currently on pole position by over a second at the moment. But I think we'll see some of those times come tumbling down a bit when a few more drivers set their lap times as well. Acid Masters is back on track into turn 2, exit of turn 2 I should say, heading now towards the beginning of sector 2 as well. But looking good indeed, Acid Masters as well. Was one of the first winners of the 100% league, of course, in Brazil in the first round back in November. That was a long time ago now. We're already 4 months down the line from the start of the season. So it's been an epic start of the season so far. And we're almost halfway through after this race. After this race and the next one, I should say, really. But yeah, we're getting there as well. Chewy there, who got his first points of the season last week, I should say, is looking good again. Hopefully he can keep himself in that P7 to get some good points for the Haas team. And of course, he clung on to that P10 last week in Austria as well to clinch the final point and the extra point there for the Haas team as well. Both of the Haas drivers very consistent and very clean drivers as well. They're making sure they bide their time. Might not be the fastest on the grid, but they really get the good points when they need it as well, and they can get themselves through the tangle of people battling away and get themselves up into some points paying positions as well, which we've seen in the previous races. So good stuff indeed from Chewy and from Serious Mushroom, of course. But Serious Mushroom doesn't have to Gunter's obviously told him to lose his keys for the time being, and hopefully he can get that sorted in the race. Gino there has got himself back up to P2. He's into the 41.9s now. So he has got himself into the 41s along with AC Immortal. The only two drivers, the top two drivers, of course, up in the 1 minute 41s. Everybody else is in a 42 or lower. But at the moment, there's still half the session still to go. About 9 minutes left to go in this qualifying session. Acid Masters there crosses the line to go P7. So that's a 43.4 there for the Red Bull driver. Puts him P7 for the time being. Swanshanks there is, of course, back in the Alfa Romeo tonight as well. Chewy has been bumped down to P9, but is still out on track. So potentially could go a bit faster in the next phase, unless he's coming into the pits on this occasion. Looks like he's coming back into the pit lane there following the new pit entry, well, the newer pit entry. Of course, we used to have the pit entry on the main straight, didn't we? Literally on the left-hand side here, you can see there where they put the barrier there. That's pretty much where the entry used to be, which was quite annoying, I think it was, for especially coming out of the final corner and then not knowing if your rival right ahead of you is going to go into the pit lane or not. But now they have sorted that out, which is good news. It's raining cats and dogs, says Bannister. It looks like it at the moment on my screen. Bannister is out on track now. He's just on an out lap right now as he takes to the track there in his Alfa Romeo. Of course, a full-time driver now. And after a great performance, I think it was 2 rounds ago now, wasn't it? It was 2 rounds. It was Bannister. I think we raced in the Alpine the first time, and he actually got P6, I think it was, with a great performance. So he's now stepping into the Alfa Romeo full-time as well. So good stuff indeed. Looking forward to seeing what he can do in the Alfa. Of course, we saw the Alfa reveal as well with the new car for the 2023 season. Of course, that white part of the livery there has changed to black. It looks very nice indeed, in my opinion. So it's now black and red Alfa Romeo there for the 2023 F1 season, which will be, of course, starting in about a month's time now, isn't it? It's the 5th of March is the race of Bahrain, and then that will be the opener for the 2023 season. Acid Masters has improved there up to P3, a great time indeed, a great improvement indeed, up to 42.0 there for the Red Bull driver, much better than P7. So he's got himself promoted there up very nicely indeed. And we've got Serious Russian there cheering on his teammate Chewy as well. Chewy there up in P9 at the moment. And evening Alex as well from Ewok as well. Ewok there taking to the track in the Mercedes once again. And looking to see what he can do on his return there to the French Grand Prix. Let's see how the Mercedes drivers are going to fare. Looking like one driver at the moment is looking better than the other, because one's stuck in the pit lane. Here comes Sick as Muck there. I think he might be improved on his time at the moment. He has got up to P4, and that's a 42.270 there for the Mercedes driver. So one Mercedes driver up in P4 at the moment. The other one not being able to get out of the pit lane just yet, but there's still time as we go through into turn 2 as well. You love the new Alpha, says Serious Mushroom. Yeah, it looks really good, doesn't it? I think it might be one of the favourites for league racing. That is on the new game when that does come out in I think probably about July time, isn't it? Usually, so hopefully we'll have a nice new hopefully we'll have a nice new liveries for all the cars. I like the Williams livery, to be fair, although it's not changed that much, I don't think. But it's changed the sort of the pattern of it, really, hasn't it? They've changed the pattern, not the overall design, in my opinion. But it still looks very nice indeed. As Kiki there starts another lap. I think he's just going for another attempt here. As a lot of drivers there setting the soft compound tyres, or a couple of drivers setting the soft compound tyres in the pit lane. So I think the rain it's still going on my screen anyway. So I think it might be due to stop very soon. So that might be the reason why the drivers there just going onto the soft compound tyres, just to see what the comparison is to the intermediate compound tyre. But at the moment it doesn't seem to be the right tyre to be on. It has to be the intermediate for the time being. I will still get the Haas if I race next season. So Serious Mushroom. Well, there's probably what is it? Is 2 in 20 chance, isn't there, of you getting a Haas from the draw? So technically, it's 1 in 10. 1 in 10. You've got a tenth of a chance there to get the Haas in the draw. So potentially, there could be another team that you might get. You never know. But it'd be very, very odd to see Serious Mushroom there racing in anything but a Haas. Of course, it is his favourite car and everyone's favourite car, in my opinion, as well. Good stuff. Right then, Kiki, I'm just pulling your leg there, Serious Mushroom. Hopefully you can hear me in the comment section. Yeah, Kiki there is getting himself around this circuit. Very nicely done indeed from the Ferrari driver already in P7 with a 43.1, sorry. He can get himself further up the order if he can improve by, he has to improve by quite a lot, to be fair. He has to improve by 9/10 of a second or more. I think the track might be drying out a bit, which is why we've seen some drivers switch to the soft. So potentially the track is getting a bit quicker, which would be good. And we'll be able to see the improvements here from Kiki and from the other drivers who are out on track as well. Here he goes across the line. He has improved by almost half a second. So I would say that means that the track is definitely improving. So there we go. He has improved there to a 42.609. Unfortunately, not enough to move positions, but he's now has brought the gap down now to Kydell, who is in P6 at the moment. But it looks like Kydell might be coming across the line very soon to start another lap. He'll be out on track. Bannister's has done a great job to get himself up into P5 with a 42.305 as well. Looking good indeed in the Alfa Romeo, of course, after his debut race there in the Alpine before. He's done a fantastic job to get himself up into P5 once again. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see what the Haas livery is going to look like. Of course, Serious Mushroom, it might be absolutely amazing. Everybody might want to drive the Haas in the new game. We'll have to find out. It does look like the rain has stopped here. We've got 4 minutes left of the session, so potentially it might be a very late switch onto the wet compound tyres. Hopefully not. Onto the soft compound tyres. As you can see there, Immortal there has set the soft compound tyres back on the car in the garage, as has Vintage as well. So those drivers that are in the garage at the moment, just looking to see if the which one's going to be the faster tyre. They've all, of course, got to get themselves out on their out lap as well and get themselves round to start their flying lap before the checker flag does fall as well. So there we go. Acid Masters is back in the pits. Jinner is on track as well. Jinner coming up to the line now to start another lap, I think, as he's done a 42. He's done he has improved there, I think. Wait, I'm not quite sure what the delta was saying there because it seemed to be all over the place. I think he did improve there slightly. But he stayed in P3 for the time being. Sick as Muck there has done a great job of getting himself up into P2 as it stands. Let's have a look. We've just seen somebody else jump up the order. It's Kiki there up into P5 with a 42.0 as well. Good stuff indeed from him. He jumped ahead of Bannister there, who's back in the pit lane now. I think the guys in the pit lane might be holding on for the very last second here just to see, is it going to be dry enough to put the soft compound tyres on and really improve on that, on the 1 minute 40s or so that they have already set. Here comes Kydell up to the line. He's gone fastest with a 40.0. I think that might mean it is the switchover point now, and I think some drivers there will decide it is time for the soft compound tyres for one final run. Of course, they've only got about 2 minutes to get themselves out on track and get themselves round on their out laps to then start a flying lap. So they have to play it very carefully here as well. If they go on the soft compound tyre and it's not the right tyre, then they've ruined their final lap, final chance there of getting a lap time in on this final part of the qualifying session. Ewok Jr. is out on track on the soft compound tyre. No moves made just yet for AC Immortal or for Vintage. It doesn't look like at the moment anyway. So Ewok there is testing the waters here, or the first driver I think to test the waters on the soft compound tyres. Sick as Muck's gone even faster there by half a second almost. He's done a 39.5 there, so the track definitely improving now. His Mercedes teammate of Ewok is out on track for his first attempt in this qualifying session, and it's going to be Swanshanks has retired in the pit lane, unfortunately. He's not going to come out of the pit lane there. He's decided to stay put. He's going to be he's not starting no higher than P8 in this race as it stands at the moment. Ewok there out on track. He's not got the DRS, so the DRS yet to be activated, or be activated by the race director, that is. So he's not able to use the benefit of the DRS just yet. So it still indicates that it's just slightly too wet for the time being. But the question is, will it dry up in time, in 1 minute's time, as Vintage is also retired in the pit lane as well? I'm not quite sure if Vintage didn't get himself back out in time, did he? But Immortal has got himself out on an outlap on the soft compound tyres as well. Yeah, like I said, we'll have to wait and see. Is it going to be dry enough on the in the next minute or so for the soft compound tyres? We can see the times tumbling down. Kydell's gone fastest still with a 38.8 there, almost 7 tenths faster than Sick as Muck there on his previous lap time. So you can see the lap time is tumbling down, as looks like Sick as Muck there is unfortunately invalidated on his this run anyway. Now this one that he's on now, but let's see if he can get himself back to the line to start another lap. Siege is on track now as well, but this is his first run, and he's on the intermediate compound tyres, so I think he'll be able to go fast, but he won't be able to go as fast as potentially Immortal or Ewok, as Immortal has started his lap now. I think he has anyway. No, he hasn't just yet. He's coming around now to finish off this outlap, I think it is, but he's already got the telemetry all switched over. I think Ewok Jr. has started his lap as well. He's gone through turn 1 and 2, so we'll have a look and see what the time is going to be like from Ewok Jr. as well as he goes into turn 4 and 5 as well. DRS has been enabled, so that's his perfect timing. The driver's on the soft compound tyres, as AC Immortal unfortunately has crossed the line already. He didn't make it to the line, did Immortal. The championship leader there didn't make it to the line, and that is him done and dusted in this qualifying session. He's going to be starting P4 at best at the moment. Jinner's gone fastest with a 38.0 there. It's a fantastic time indeed from Jinner, but Kydell's invalidated as well. Chewy's in P3. Fantastic stuff indeed from the Haas driver as well. Really good stuff. Kiki's improved to a P4. Sick as Muck's dropped down the order to P5. AC Immortal is going to be P6 at best, as Acid Masters unfortunately has invalidated his time. Bannister's P8 off the circuit goes somebody there. Acid Master's going very wide there as Siege comes through into Sector 3. Let's have a look and see who's going to be ahead. I think it's Ewok is coming through here as well now. Siege is going to be under pressure here, I think, actually, because I think Ewok on those soft compound tyres will probably be all over the back of him by the time that he finishes this lap, actually. So it's going to be quite close indeed between the two of them. But now around the final corner goes Siege as well up to the line. Let's see what the Alpine driver can do, and this will be of course his first and only time of the session today as well. He goes fastest with a 36.7, but here comes Ewok there up to the line. What can he do? It's pole position there for Ewok, a 33.912 by almost three seconds itself. Is 2.8 seconds there, the gap to P2, and that is a great lap time indeed there for Ewok there, up into the top spot on the grid as well. Great stuff indeed. We've got Kaz as well, who's on track, but unfortunately Kaz has invalidated his lap time, so he will not be starting. He will not be able to set a lap time in this qualifying session. That's him done and dusted. But Ewok there is your pole position sitter for the French Grand Prix, which will be coming up in just a couple of minutes time now, or a couple of seconds time really, as we're just waiting for Kaz to get himself back into the pit lane. But what a pole position there. He made the call on the right call as well to go on the soft compound tyres, and he just made it to the line as well. We saw AC Immortal do the same, but he didn't make it to the start line just before the checkered flag fell for the end of qualifying, and Ewok there timed it perfectly there. The DRS was activated as he went through turn 3 and 4. We saw on his lap there, as of course he needs the DRS down this back straight there to get the gain more time as well, of course, on the soft compound tyres. And what is that? A 2.8 second gap there between P1 and P2. A fantastic lap time indeed. A great call indeed there from Ewok as well to get himself into pole position there for the first time in the season as well. A great lap time from Ewok into P1. There's Siege in P2, Jinna in P3, Kaido in P4, Chewie in P5, Kiki in P6, Sick as Muck in P7, AC Immortal there P8, Acid Masters P9 and Bannister P10. All those drivers there, apart from Ewok there on the intermediate compound tyres, did not great lap time or didn't get out in time to set the time on the soft compound tyres. Swanshanks in P11, Vintage in P12, and then we've got Serious Mushroom, Dan Murphy, Reflection and Kaz, who couldn't get a time on the board at all. Sam Green said, a silly question, is it too late for me to join? Yes, it will be now because we're into the race, but if you joined in quali then it would have been alright, but unfortunately if you join in the race it doesn't, you can just spectate I think, so it won't let you do anything unfortunately. So yeah, like I said, if you joined in quali it would be okay, but unfortunately not for the race itself, because once the race is underway, that is that. So like I said, we'll get ourselves now into the race. It looks like it is nice and dry, or looks like it's nice and dry, fingers crossed. So hopefully it will stay in that way as well. Good luck all, says Serious Mushroom as well, wanting all the drivers there to have a good race as well. We're waiting for the drivers now to load ourselves up, and we'll be loading ourselves into the session now. We're getting the strategy sorted, getting all the fuel loads ready, and then getting ready for 53 laps of the circuit. Paul Ricard. Right then, we are almost ready to get going. I think we've got 10 seconds before we get underway, and just waiting for the drivers there to get their everything finalised and tidied away before the start of the race, making sure they've got all of the tyre compounds in the right order. As now we're ready to get going, I think, for the formation lap. I think we are anyway. As where we go. Yeah, we've got everybody on, ready to get going. We've got the formation lap is underway now, so off we go, and we can get the drivers ready to get going as well now. So good stuff indeed. And let's have a look and see what is going to be going on in the tyre compounds as well. We'll have a look around from the bottom of the grid as Kaz has got himself away. So Kaz there starting in from P16 there on the medium compound tyres. Reflection also on the mediums as well in P15 in the McLaren. Of course, we've seen from Reflection there come through the grid in the last few races there to claim some good big points there from the McLaren team. So let's see if we can do the same once again. Good luck all from Kaz as well in the comment section. Dan Murphy there starting from P14 on the grid in the Aston Martin as well tonight. So he's on the medium compound tyres also, as is Serious Mushroom there in P13 in the Haas. Then we've got Vintage on the mediums in the Williams as well, as is Swanshanks in the Alfa Romeo P11. So all those drivers outside the top 10 basically starting on the medium compound tyre. Bannister there in P10 is starting on the mediums as well. So he's going to be looking to go the same distance as the rest of the majority of the drivers as well. Acid Masters, though, has switched the strategy up. He's going from P9. He's going for the soft compound tyre. So looking to go very quick and very short in the first stint. So looking to see what he's going to do in this race. He's looking to try and get the moves done early on in this race to get himself further up the order before the pit stop phase. AC Mortal, sorry, didn't get the final run in, did he, in qualifying? He's starting P8 there, but he's on the hard compound tyres as the Alpha Tauri, the championship leader, of course. Looking to see what he can do in this race and looking to go long in the first stint, as is Sick as Muck there from P7. He's on the hard compound tyres also as well. And then the top 6 there, we've got Kiki there in P6 on the medium compound tyres, as is Chewy there in the Haas, P5, also on the mediums, as is Kydell in P4 on the mediums as well in the McLaren. Jinner there in P3, also on the medium compound tyres, and our front row of Siege there in P2 on the mediums in the Alpine tonight, as well as our pole sitter Ewok Jr. there on the medium compound tyres in the Mercedes. Good stuff indeed. Right, we're about ready to get going. Just getting the drivers lined up on the grid, and hopefully once everybody's sorted, Sick as Muck has not been able to make it to his pit box, but hopefully, like I said, once all the drivers have got themselves sorted, we'll be able to get ourselves underway for the start of this race. Alright then, Kaz is just jumping into his box there. So hopefully this will be we'll be able to get ourselves underway now, as Kaz has been disqualified also as well. But there we go then. Let's have a look and see what's going to happen here. I can't see any 5 red lights. The 5 red lights are coming on here in France, and the 5 red lights are on in France, and now they're out, and away we go for the French Grand Prix. Good start there indeed, of course, with the Red Bull there for Acid Masters on the soft compound tyres. There's a few drivers already switching places there as we head down towards turn 1. Into turn 1, Ewok leads ahead of Siege, Kydell, and Jinner there. Sick as Muck. Well, Jinner's had a spin there, unfortunately. I think that's a problem there for Jinner. Down the order goes Vintage as well. Vintage has had a problem, but he's still in the session, which is good news. So I'm not quite sure what's happened there between the drivers there as well. A few mishaps into turn 1 and 2. Jinner's got himself been passed by Dan Murphy there for P8 there, and the Aston Martin making his way up the order as Jinner tries to battle back now round the outside. It's not going to be an easy one to make round there, and I think he might have to yield there to the Aston Martin. There's a Alfa Romeo there of Swanshanks, I think, coming through as well. So these managed to sneak his way up the order as well. Up into P9 has Swanshanks. Good stuff indeed. Jinner now dropping down the places there after that bit of a difficult start there for the Williams driver. But out in front, we've got the same order there. It's Ewok Jr. there, Siege and Kydell making a good start. Both Sick as Muck and AC Immortal, have got themselves up quite a few places already as well. Actually, to be fair, as Bannister gets past his teammate there of Swanshanks there, just getting out of the way there with Swanshanks. A bit of team orders there in play from the old Freddie Vasseur team. It's now, of course, I'm not quite sure who the team boss is now for Alfa Romeo. Swanshanks has been passed by his very great old foe of Serious Mushroom. I do kid between those two. There is a bit of banter, so yeah, don't worry about that. But there we go then. Up the order goes Serious Mushroom. Swanshanks there, having lost one place to his teammate, then has lost a place as well to his Serious Mushroom as well. So they're dropping down the order, unfortunately. Dropping down the order, unfortunately, for Swanshanks at this stage of the race. Outside of the top 10, it seems to be all calmed down at the moment. It seems, unfortunately, for Vintage, he's lost a few places, but he did get away nicely. Chewy's also lost 8 places there. I didn't see that. He must have had a difficult start. It looked like there was one driver somewhere in the middle of that grid who did have a slow start compared to the rest, and I think that might have been Chewy there because of the amount of places that he's unfortunately lost at the beginning of this race, as has Jinner as well. Lost 6 places there, but it looks like he's on the ball once again to try and regain those places as quickly as possible, is Jinner. So good stuff indeed. We'll see what he can do in the race now. Dan Murphy now all over the back of Kiki there, trying to get himself through past the Ferrari up into P7 at the moment. But no dice just yet. Of course, we're on lap 2 of 53, so there is still one more lap to go, this lap to go, until DRS is going to be activated when they cross the start-finish line. But at the moment, Ewok Jr. there has got himself out in the lead still and keeping hold of that lead. Apart from Siege there, trying to get that pressure put down now on that Mercedes, I think, trying to get himself past the order and then up into P1, of course. I think Siege will be looking to get himself through as soon as the DRS is probably activated, as Dan Murphy's got himself through on Kiki as well. Up into P7 already is the Aston Martin. Ferrari dropping down the order now into Sector 3 we go. And that is that, done and dusted. AC Immortal is, of course, started on the hard compound tyres. These two here, P4 and P5 on the hard compound tyres, the only two in the grid to be on the hard compound tyres from the start of the race. So they'll be looking to get those tyres warmed up. It does take a while for the hards to warm up, and I think they've probably got within that, just within that right operating window right now, after 2 laps of green flag running, that is. But yeah, like I said, the medium compound tyres at this stage of the race, and especially the soft compound tyres for Acid Masters, will be much better in terms of grip and pace at this stage. So there we go, into turn 1 we go. Sick as Muck, they're just trying to defend there from the making a bit of a ghosting defence there to AC Immortal, who wasn't going for any moves into turn 1 just yet. He's got, of course, the DRS is now activated, and there is a bit of a train forming as we've got yellow flags in the background there. Swanshanks off the circuit. He's got himself back underway, but I think he just had a bit of a spin there on the exit of turn 2. It's a difficult corner to get right, as we said in qualifying, but luckily everybody is still okay through there, and Swanshanks can get himself back underway. He's not too far off the back of the pack here at the moment. Let's have a look back at this battle here. There is AC Immortal going to go for a move on Sick as Muck there. Sick as Muck, I think, using as much as the ERS and DRS, not DRS because he hasn't got any, but ERS as to play with as much as he can. As all slippery through there is Kaidel. He almost lost the place as Ewok has taken, lost the lead to Siege. Jinna and Kiki switching places, as is Serious Mushroom and Bannister through the chicane as well. Looks like a bit of a side-by-side move there through the chicane, which is always going to be slow for the drivers. They're costing them a bit more time. They've dropped out DRS range there of the top 9. Kiki, Acid Master, and Sick as Muck switching places into the long right-hander of Sector 3, and no dice just yet as Acid Master is going to go down the inside here. It's going to be dodgy, and that curb is very easy to spin on. And yeah, if they had to think about that twice, I think there's Acid Masters, because I think that might have gone terribly wrong if we put down the power there too much on that curb as well. But thankfully, no issues there for the Red Bull driver. He can get himself now underway and back underway after his rivals here on the hard compound tyres. Siege now out in the lead, has set the fastest lap of the race. The purple lap there just indicates how quick that Alpine is going. He's almost out of 1 second from the Mercedes driver of Ewok behind him. Ewok has lost the lead there on the last lap, but now we'll be looking to try and stick with Siege to bring that gap back down and gain the lead again in the next few corners, or so in the next few laps as well. But this battle here is where we're looking. I think at the moment there's a bit of a train forming behind Sick as Muck, and AC Immortal, of course, our championship leader on the hard compound tyres, all a bit of squirrely there on the power. There was the Alpha Tower, and that's going to cost him a bit of time, and that is going to cost him enough of a gap, I think, for Sick as Muck to get away down this straight with the DRS even. He's not going to be able to make any moves, I don't think, into the chicane. Here comes Acid Masters, Dan Murphy putting the pressure on as well, and there's a Williams there of Jinna going down the inside of the Aston Martin. I think that's probably the worst place to try and make an overtake when there's a group of cars ahead of you as well. It's not the right place or the right time, in my opinion. But Jinna, they're still going to go for it, as he's going to go into Sector 3 there, around the outside of the Aston Martin. Oh, there's contact between the two, and I think that was Dan Murphy's off the circuit as well. So yeah, I don't think that was any problem of Dan Murphy there. I think unfortunately that is Jinna's fault. He tries to go around the outside there, and that is always going to result in the car going off the circuit if he's going to be turning in like that. He needs to go a lot wider on that turn in there. Does the Williams driver, unfortunately. Hopefully there's no wing damage for either driver, and they can carry on their race and try and get themselves recovered. But unfortunate scenes there for Jinna and for Dan Murphy. That was definitely not the Aston Martin's fault, in my personal opinion. We'll have to see from their onboards as well if there is any onboard action. But Kaido there has got himself past Ewok there for P2 as well. Now Ewok, they're dropping down the order from the lead of the race. He's dropped out of DRS from Siege, and that is why Kaido's been able to make such an easy pass there on the Mercedes driver. He's got himself up the order and up into the second spot on the grid, or on the podium I should say. But now going to try and bear down on Siege as well. Can he catch up to the Alpine driver and get him within the DRS range? Of course, Ewok can use this use the DRS now down at the next straight to pull himself back into range of that McLaren and pull himself into the fight once again. Here comes AC Immortal once again. Can he make any moves here on his other hard compound rival of Sick as Muck there? Into the chicane we go. We're going to go side by side once again. It looks like deep on the brakes as AC Immortal has got the move done round the outside. He's made the move stick very nicely indeed. He's got the move sorted as well before on the exit as well of the chicane. And now up into P4 goes the championship leader. Sick as Muck dropping down to P5, and Acid Masters there slotting in behind these two as well. But of course on the hard compound tyres, these two, so they're going to be going longer than the rest anyway. But Acid Masters will be looking to try and get himself through these two as well, because of course on these soft compound tyres he wants to make the best of them as it stands at the moment. he's going to be stuck behind the two drivers on the hardest compound, and that is going to hold him up a bit more and lose the life of those soft compound tyres, which he wants to be using on track in an open road. But there we go. There we go. Equas, sorry, I said let's get it. Dan, he's supporting Dan, of course, in the Aston Martin tonight. Unfortunately, we're meant to have two Aston Martins. The next gamer there has decided that his internet wasn't working at the last minute there. So unfortunately for X Gamer, he's not able to participate in this race either. AC Immortals almost got within DRS range of Ewok here. Ewok's having a bit of trouble here, I think, trying to stick with the top two drivers. Kaidel has got himself out of the DRS range, and now AC Immortal, with those hard compound tyres, is going to get himself within that 1 second window. Yellow flags as Acid Masters, I think, is Acid Masters off the circuit. Sick as Muck's also had a problem there as well into turns 3 and 4, and Sick as Muck's dropped down there to P9 there. He's got himself back underway, but I think there's a bit of a, maybe, I'm not sure if there's contact. I don't think these two drivers were that, well, they were quite close to be fair, but yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened there between Sick as Muck and Acid Masters, but they've got themselves back underway and still within the points paying positions, both of them as well, so it's not all doom and gloom just yet. But let's have a look and see. We know that they now drop behind, of course, Reflection and Bannister as well, who are battling already in their own battle as well, these two, and now they're going to be joined by the Mercedes and the Red Bull as well. It looks like, as once again we go into the long right-hander. And again, it's not one you want to go side by side with, really, as they managed to make it through there unscathed this time. Reflection looking to go down the inside into the next phase, but he's made the move. I think he has made the move. He's just about made the move, and Bannister looking to go down the inside once again to try and reclaim the position, but not quite off the circuit slightly. There goes the McLaren, but he's made the move stick. I think he's up into P7. There is Reflection there. Down the inside once again goes Bannister. He's still sticking his nose in there, but there's no dice just yet, and Reflection there, I think, is hold of the position for the time being now. Down the next DRS straight though, the main straight comes up, and here comes Bannister back again. He's going to use the DRS and the ERS now to try and get himself into P7 ahead of into turn 1. No moves being made just yet, as once again Sick as Muck's making moves that he doesn't need to make, really, as off the circuit goes Kiki. Unfortunately for Kiki, he's had a spin there at the exit of turn 2. He's got himself back underway as well, which is good news, but unfortunately dropping down the order behind his teammate now as well of Kaz. Gino there is making his way back up the order as well, as is Dan Murphy as well, and unfortunately for Swan Tracks, he's still recovering, but he's doing a good job of getting himself back up the order, back into the order as well, I should say. Acid Masters has got himself past Bannister there on the soft compound tyres, but like I said, once again he's battling with people he doesn't really want to be battling with. AC Immortal's got himself up into P3. He's back up in the podium places, is the AlphaTauri, and he's got himself now into the podium places on those hard compound tyres, getting ahead of Ewok there, who's dropped down after taking the lead in the qualifying. He's had an issue there issues in the race so far, and that he's lost the position there to Siege Kaidel, and now AC Immortal is the next rival to get past as well. Unfortunately for Chewy there, he's dropped behind Kaz now. Kaz is getting the overtake done down the back straight, and now the Ferrari there after P11 there looking to try and get himself into the points there ahead of Vintage. Vintage there was able to take the start, thankfully. Unfortunately, he was one of the drivers who had issues yesterday, and it was I think it was just down to a Codemasters issue there, it looks like, because it seems like he's had no problems in the start of this race. He's up 2 places as well from P12. Looking good indeed is Vintage. Good stuff indeed. Yellow flags in Sector 3. That's a problem there for another Ferrari. It's Kiki off the circuit once again in Sector 3. He's had a problem there. He's got himself back underway again. But I'm not quite sure what is going on there with the Ferrari. There seems to be having problems there on the tyres, and he just needs to make sure he keeps them nice and cool there before getting him back underway. As Acid Master there does get past Sick as Muck there down the main straight this time, as the Red Bull now has got himself ahead of the driver on the hards. The soft compound tyres, I think, will probably be wearing out in the next few laps though, so we might see the Red Bull of Acid Masters coming back in the pit lane very soon. But the good thing about that as well is that he'll probably get a nice undercut, and he'll come out in some nice clear air as well, which will be good news, as Sick as Muck there is the first driver to pick up a penalty there, going wide there through sector 1, sorry. And that has cost him a penalty. There's three limits there, 3 track limits there, and that is a 3-second penalty, as Kaidel has got past Siege there into the chicane in the middle of the lap, or middle of the back straight I should say, and he's up into P1 now as well, Kaidel there, but the Siege, sorry, is not giving up at this stage. He's 2 tenths behind the McLaren. They're looking to get that move back once again. The red light there just flashing on the McLaren we just saw as they go into this corner here, and no moves made, but there we can see that the ERS usage on that McLaren is definitely high, as there's a yellow flags for Chewy. No, it's not Chewy, it's Kiki once again off the circuit into the chicane system as well. Not quite sure what's happened there to Kiki. He's got himself back underway, but he's dropped behind Swanshacks now as well, as Kiki needs to get himself set again. Maybe go on to a new set of tyres as well, because I think those tyres might be a bit too worn out now at this stage. They've had had too many spins there to get themselves back in the operating window to be competitive once again. So hopefully that is what's on the mind there of the Ferrari driver. Jenner there looking to try and get himself past Kaz now, as Kaz goes very wide into the final corner, and that's going to cost him a lot of time and the place, I think, to Jenner as well. Jenner's got himself up into P11. And that is the move made there for Jenner. He's used a lot of ERS, I should say, as Kiki picks up a 3-second penalty there as well. Unfortunately for the Ferrari driver, it's just compounding his misery at the moment. But like I said, there's still plenty of time, plenty of laps left in this race to get himself back up the order. And we can see from Kiki in the races that he's done so far as well in the 100% league, he has got the pace to get himself in the points again. Jenner picks up another penalty as well, so that's 3 penalties within in the last lap or so now, actually. So maybe the commentator's curse has come into play there as well at the same time. And unfortunately for Jenner now, he's got the third of the 3-second penalties there. Sick as Muck has also got one, as has Kiki as well at the moment. So looking to get themselves underway now and try and get themselves ahead of 3 seconds or so to the drivers behind them, because of course that will be added on. Those penalties will be added on to their race classification at the end of the race. Siege there still stuck behind the McLaren at the moment, and then we can see here Immortal there is actually trying to catch up to the pack here. He's almost within 1 second of the top 2 here, and that would give him DRS as well on those hard compound tyres. That would be a masterstroke of strategy if he can get that right. He had the battle there with Sick as Muck for quite a few laps at the beginning, but once he got past the other hard runner of Sick as Muck there, he got past the Mercedes, then he's been able to power on and try and get himself after the top 2 as well, and he's now got within the DRS range as well. Fantastic stuff indeed there from AC Immortal there on those hard compound tyres. You can just see the pace there. That is why he's the championship leader, because he's got the pace and he can get those points under his belt as well with that extra pace as well. So looking good indeed is AC Immortal there, going through turn 2 now as well and sticking with these runners there ahead of him on the medium compound tyres. Good stuff. Let's have a look and see what's going on around the rest of the order. Acid Mars is now all over the back of Reflection. Reflection already up 9 places as well with a great start. We did see that. We did say that in the previous order in the qualifying, that we've seen that from Reflection in the previous races as well. He can get himself up the order very, very nicely indeed. Very, very clean and consistent is the McLaren driver. Both McLaren drivers, to be fair. So looking good at the moment for both of the McLaren drivers as well. But here comes Acid Masters now. What will he have to say on those soft compound tyres? We've done 10 laps or so now, almost 11 laps actually. So we'll see when the soft compound tyres are going to start giving out. I think we might have a look at the tyres quickly now as well, as Vintage has got past Bannister there for P9 into the chicane. He's got the move done in the Williams. It's up into P9 for Vintage. Good stuff indeed. Acid Masters not close enough, unfortunately, need to make a move there on the McLaren driver. Good stuff. Elsewhere, the battle's really forming outside of the points as well. But let's have a look and see who's going to be next to make any moves. I think AC Immortal is going to be quite close actually to making a move here for P2. He's all over the back of Siege already. I don't think it's time for those mediums to be getting a bit too worn out. I think the mediums will probably go for another few laps or so. But it looks like those hard compound tyres definitely switched on now for the AlphaTauri driver at least, and they're really going great guns indeed to try and get himself back up into the top spot that he's very familiar with, of course. Immortal there is very familiar with the top spot in the 100% league, and let's see what he can do now as we go into the second phase now of sector 1 into sector 2. But like I said, sector 2 is pretty much just one big straight, really, isn't it? Because it's just down the back straight. I think the sector line somewhere around here, isn't it? And Ewok there picks up the 4th penalty. Unfortunately for Ewok, that is compounding his race. He was, of course, started P1. He's now under pressure there from Serious Mushroom there, as Mushroom there pushing him through into sector 2 as well. DRS is going to be available for the Haas driver as well. That's going to be very helpful for him. Can he make any moves down the back straight as well with some DRS assistance? He's using the ERS as well. Can he make any moves now? He's going to go side by side. It's going to be close indeed. He's got the move done, I think, before the braking zone. He's got the move done up into P4. Goes Serious Mushroom. Good stuff indeed as well from the Haas driver. Car number 2, of course. And that is the move done. But can Ewok come back at him now towards sector 3? It looks like he's going to go for it at least. He's going to go side by side between the two of them here. And he's not made any... He's made the move, actually. He has got the move done. Ewok there up into P4. He's taken this place back as well. I've forgotten to turn the graphics on as well. There we go. There's the graphics. Good stuff indeed. But yeah, Serious Russian there battling away with the Mercedes driver of Ewok, and that is actually the both of them has cost them time, unfortunately, there to Reflection. Their Reflection now almost within that 1 second window. It'd be very enticing for the McLaren driver. Can he get within that 1 second window to help defend him from the Acid Master's attack of on the soft compound tyres of that Red Bull? But at the moment, not just yet. I think Reflection might be within the DRS range now. No, not quite. He's just outside of it here, but pushing on as well. Bannister is coming in the pits. He's called it a day on the medium compact tyres already after only 11 laps on those on these tyres. So he's decided to call it a day already. Has the Alfa Romeo driver. Interesting strategy call here. Let's see what he's going to go on to. Let's find out what the strategy is going to be for the Alfa Romeo team. Is he going to go on to hard compound tyres or the softest? Back on the medium compound tyres. So not quite sure what the strategy is here for Bannister, because we would expect the medium compound tyres to go a bit longer than that. He has had a wing change, I think, as well there. Potentially it was a bit of a slow stop, wasn't it? So there we go. Out of the pit lane goes the Alfa Romeo there. He's dropped to the back of the grid, of course, with that pit stop. But he's the first and only driver so far to make a pit stop. Everybody else has carried on the tyres they started the race with. Serious Mushroom and Ewok once again battling into the chicane. This is brought Reflection and Acid Masters into this battle as well now. The battling between the Mercedes, and the Haas has really got the McLaren and the Red Bull interested as well for that extra position, those extra positions as well. And now the Haas of Serious Mushroom has taken the lead of this battle here. And now he's trying to get himself away, as far away as he can now, from the Mercedes, from the McLaren, and from the Red Bull. But that's going to be easier said than done, in my opinion, because those drivers behind him aren't going to try and let go of him too easily, are they? So they want to keep within that DRS range, don't they? And try and get themselves pulled along with the extra speed from the DRS detection zone. But there we go, then into the final couple of corners we go now. Serious Russian's got a 10-second gap there to the top three. The top three really checking out so far in this race. But Serious Russian's done a pretty good job of getting himself up the order as well from the back of the grid. I think it was P12 or P13, something like that, wasn't it? So it's been a good improvement there from the Haas driver as well. 13 laps in, and we've got I think we've got 40 to do, I think it is. So we'll have to wait and see what the strategy is going to be like in this one. Dan Murphy gets himself back past Chewy up into P12 there after the incident there with Jenna. We didn't see what happened there. Well, we did see what happened, sorry. We were on board with it. We weren't on board with it, we were looking at it, and yeah, it looked like Jenna there just turned into the right-hander there a bit too hastily, and that was with Dan Murphy on the inside. It cost a bit of a spin for both drivers, unfortunately. Jenna has recovered there to P9 so far, but Dan Murphy there struggling a bit to get himself back underway, and unfortunately in P12 at the moment, but now trying to line up a move on Kaz as we go down the back straight. But here we go then. DRS is available, and let's see if he can make any moves there on the Ferrari driver into the chicane. No, not quite. No moves are being made. Sorry about that, just had to get stripped because I was getting a bit too sweaty in this comments box over here. But there we go, then we're back underway. But the race has still been going on. Very nicely done indeed. AC Walter has got himself past Siege. I completely missed that whilst I was taking off all my clothes. But there we go, then you can just picture the scenes now in the comments box, can't you? But AC Walter there looking to get after the lead of this race now. Kaido is under pressure there. You can see the AlphaTauri in his wing mirrors, and you can see that is the championship leader of AC Immortal there, and he is going to be putting the pressure on now, that McLaren. It is not going to be good news indeed for the McLaren and for Siege, to be fair, because of course they wanted to be checking out ahead of the hard compound tyres, hard compound tyre runners, that is. But it doesn't seem that's the case there, especially with AC Immortal there and his championship leading speed at the moment. So looking good indeed for Immortal there. No moves made there into the middle section, but unfortunately he was going to be right on the back of the McLaren there for the next few laps, I think. And before he gets himself past, that is. Reflection's got himself past Ewok there up into P5. There goes the Reflection. Kaido and AC Immortal, battling away there into sector 3. He's got the move done already, has AC Immortal. Immortal there. I thought he was going to wait for the DRS zone, but no, he's decided to make the move before then as well. He's got himself up into P1 there. He's out in the lead now, is AC Immortal. Great stuff indeed from the AlphaTauri driver, and he's checking out in the distance now as well. He's up into P1 there. Kaido dropping down to P2, and like I said, that was going to come back. I think it's going to extend the lead, I think, to AC Immortal. I think what the McLaren and the Alpine needs to do now is try and stay as close as they can within the DRS range of that AlphaTauri, so that it doesn't benefit the hard runner so long in the next phase of this stint as well. So we'll have to wait and see if they can do that. It's going to be a challenge indeed to stay within that 1 second window, but we'll find out if they can, as Reflection's got himself in that 1 second window of serious mushroom, but no DRS down the main straight, unfortunately for him. We saw Bannister make an early stop there onto the medium compound tyres. I think it was for a bit of a wing change as well, actually. But he's gone onto the medium compound tyres once again. Acid Masters there on 14 lap old soft compound tyres. Seems to be going all right so far, or still on the soft compound tyres. So they don't seem to be too bad at this stage of the race. The fuel light is flashing though on that Red Bull. That's not good news, as I'm not quite sure if he's going to be able to get to the end of the race if that's the case. But nonetheless, we'll have to carry on as it is. He's got the DRS there on Ewok there to try and get himself pulled along for the time being. We're on to lap 15 of 53, so looking to go a few more laps, I would say, for Acid Masters there before we put on a new set of tyres. But what set of tyres will it be is the question. We'll have to find out what the strategy is going to be, how it's going to unfold. I'm not quite sure what the strategy is around here, to be honest. So I've no idea what whether the drivers on the mediums are going to go on to the hards and then go to the end, or whether they're going to have to do another medium run and then onto the softs or something like that was at the end as well. Siege has got himself past. Can't get there quick enough. Siege has got himself past Kaido up into P2. There is the Alpine driver. Good stuff indeed. As they've both lost the DRS there to AC Immortal, which is exactly what I was saying they should try not to do, as AC Immortal there sets the fastest lap of the race there. I think he was doing his best as well to pull away, as Kaido once again gets back into P2 down the inside there of Siege there into turn 1. He's got the move done before the exit of turn 2, and that is him back up into P2, that is. But they've lost almost 3 seconds already there to the race leader of AC Immortal there, who of course started down in P8 there on the hard compound tyres. Ewok there picks up another penalty. Stickers, Muck and Acid Masters battling away once again as they go through into turn 2. No dice just yet, but yeah, Sickers, Muck there and Acid Master seem to be resuming their battle here. I think they both spun at the earlier stage of this race with an incident together. I'm not quite sure what happened there between the two of them, but like I said, they've got themselves back underway and they seem to be resuming their battle right again in this lap 16 of 53. That is. Good stuff indeed. Right, so that's getting a bit warm in my room, that's why. That's just, I'm just going to have to take off all my clothes. But there we go. I don't want you to worry about that, because it's not a pleasant sight, so never mind. But there we go. Acid Masters there still sticking with the Mercedes drivers now, but I would say I think the reason why he can't gain as much as he used to on the straights now is because those soft compound tyres have used the best of their life now. They're looking to try and get themselves just manage themselves to the end of the stint here as well now. Can he get them to around lap 20 or so? I'll probably put the hard compound tyres on and go to the end. I would say that's probably a realistic opportunity, but we'll have to find out what the strategy is going to be from the bosses, of course, at Red Bull and around the rest of the grid as well. AC Immortal sets the fastest lap of the race again in free air this time, so he's really going to be pushing on as well now. Into the pits goes Acid Masters there, as I was just saying. It's time for the pit stops there for the soft compound tyre runner of Acid Masters. Reflection has got himself past Serious Mushroom there into turn 1. Sickers Muck has got himself past his teammate of Ewok there into P6 as well. So the Mercedes driver switching positions there. As onto the medium compound tyres goes Acid Masters as well. So Kaz has gone onto the soft, so he's switched the positions around there as Kaz. Acid Masters there onto the medium compound tyres is going to come out the pit lane now, and he's going to be behind Kiki there. Kiki's come through already, but of course has yet to stop at the moment. So there we go. As Acid Masters there gets himself back out in P13. He's ahead of both Swanshanks and Bannister there. Bannister, of course, one of the other drivers to make a pit stop already. So Bannister there having a bit of trouble there, I think, in this first stint. Kaz has got himself back out of the pits there on the soft compound tyres, like I said. So looking to go quick again. In this stint, we saw the soft compound tyres there from Acid Master do about 15 laps, so he's got about well, he's going to get to about lap 50, what is that, well, lap 32, lap 33, and have 20 laps to go, or I should say. So then maybe go back on the medium compound tyres on to the end of the race, I would suggest, is what my thinking is. But of course, that might be completely wrong. You never know, because I have no idea what the strategy is, of course. So there we go. Fantastic stuff. So we're into the midpoint of the race now, and it seems to have got a bit quieter through the grid order now at the moment. There's still a few battles going on here and there, but it seems to have, like I said, they've just subsided slightly now that they've got themselves settled into the positions, into the rhythm of the race now as well. Like I said, it is definitely something that definitely that comes along in league racing as well, even though it happens, and in real life, of course. Once they get into that rhythm there, especially in 100% league racing, of course, it does get a bit quieter, as Vintage has made his way back to the pit lane, as has Chewy. So as Bannister gets past his teammate of Swanshanks there. Swanshanks, I think, going to come into the pits as well. Yes, he is. So Chewy and Vintage there into the pit lane, I should say. Onto medium compound tyres once again. So they've gone medium have these drivers. They've done 18 laps there on the mediums as well. So that would get them to around lap, what would that be? Around lap 36, 37. Were they to Kaz has gone very close indeed to the exit of, well, on the exit of the pit in there, as you could see Vintage coming out as well. But yeah, so lap 36, 37. And then they've got 15 laps or so to do. So again, I think medium soft there for the likes of Vintage, for Chewy, and for Swanshanks, and for Bannister as well, potentially. Kaz there going the opposite way. He's gone medium soft, and we'll have to go to the mediums probably at the final stint of this race. But I think some of the drivers on the hard compound tyres were probably looking to stretch the stints out to go hards to maybe mediums, or maybe even hards to softs as well towards the end of this race. So we'll have to find out what they're going to do. But that is that for the time being there. So look at that, the 4.2 second gap already out in the lead there for Immortal there, the championship leader, just showing why he is the championship leader. He's done a fantastic job so far in this race. Good stuff indeed. Reflection is in the pits, the next driver to make a pit stop, so it is time for pit stops there through the grid order. As into the pits goes the McLaren driver, as well as Ewok there in P7 at the moment on the medium compound tyres. And the medium compound tyres, they're not been able to last 20 laps or so here. So that's a good indicator for the drivers on the hard compound tyres as well. Ewok has gone onto the hard compound tyres, but it looks like Reflection has gone back onto the mediums as well. So there's a bit of a strategy difference here between the two. So Ewok, they're looking to go much longer again on this stint on into P9 there on the hard compound tyres. Out the pit lane he goes. Kiki's going to get himself passed into P. Oh no, it's Acid Master. Sorry, passing Kiki down the pit lane, down the pit straight, I should say. Kaz sets the fastest lap of the race. Good stuff indeed from Kaz on in the Ferrari. But yeah, Kiki was just passed there by Acid Masters, actually down the main straight, as he, of course, yet to pit is Kiki. But yeah, as we just saw Ewok there coming out the pit lane as well. It looked like it might be close between the two of them there. But thankfully, the moves were already done before the Mercedes came out of the pit lane. Otherwise, it could have got a bit messy. No, it's all good in the hood, all good in the south of France, I should say, really. But no moves, like I said, no moves being made elsewhere. It looks like Chewy and Vintage, they're coming back out of the pits. They're very close together as well. Going to be pulling each other along there at this stage of the race, of course, on their fresh medium compound tyres. Quite a lot of drivers. The top 6 have yet to pit. Top 7, I should say, have yet to pit, as has Kiki as well. So there's 8 drivers yet to pit as well. So there's quite a lot of pit activity to come from the rest of the grid. So that's half the grid who haven't pitted yet. So there's still plenty of pit stop action still to come in this race, but at the moment it seems to be all status quo, as we've got more pit activity though, as Gina there has called it a day as well on his medium compound tyres. He might be in range actually of getting undercut here. I think he just picked up a penalty as well, didn't he? He got a penalty of speeding in the pit lane, did Gina, sorry. So that will be added onto his race time, or onto his pit stop time if he does make another pit stop, that is. He's going to go back on medium compound tyres, so he'll have to make another pit stop, because he's done medium so far in this race, and he's done 20 laps there on those medium compound tyres. So again, looking to go a bit similar sort of distance there on this stint, so that he can then go onto the soft compound tyres for the final showdown of this race as well. Gina coming back out in P11 there, and slotted himself in behind Ewok as well. Kydell has had a problem there. I think Kydell's off the circuit there at the chicane. He's lost position there to Siege, or I think he was battling with Siege actually, but he's dropped down the order. He's lost almost 5 seconds there to Siege, and he's got himself back underway thankfully. But yeah, that was not good unfortunately for the McLaren driver. He's had a spin there. He's dropped himself down the order, and that is him. Now he's still in P3 thankfully, but he's dropped off the back there of Siege, who he was battling with, was sticking with for the time being there, unfortunately. So that is going to cost him. Will he come into the pit lane? Oh, AC Immortal there is in the pit lane though. He's called it a day on the hard compound tyres. So I'm not quite sure what the strategy is going to be here for Immortal there. It seems like the hard compound tyres probably could have gone a bit longer than this stint, but I'm not quite sure. Yellow flags in Sector 2. It's Kiki once again, I think, having a problem. There's Kiki off the circuit there on the... yeah, he's got himself back underway, but he needs to get himself onto the circuit. Otherwise, we're going to get himself a penalty there, unfortunately, for the Ferrari driver. But he has got himself back underway now, thankfully. But out of the pit lane goes Immortal. Dan Murphy's got a 5-second bonus for speeding in the pit lane, unfortunately for the Aston Martin driver. Immortal comes out of the pit lane here. He's onto medium compound tyres now, so he's done 20 laps there only on the hard compound tyres, and he's now out on the medium compound tyres. So I'm not quite sure what the strategy there is for the Alpha Tauri, I should say, because that is a bit of an odd call there. Kaido back out on the mediums as well, as is Serious Mushroom, as is here goes Acid Masters through the order. Can he get himself after Reflection now? He can't just yet. He can't get himself past, I should say. Serious Mushroom there in P7. Ewok coming out in P8 there. Junior in P9. Dan Murphy coming down the straight now as well. As we've got Kaz and Bannister right behind them as well. These guys are all over the place now as all the order is getting switched around as the pit stops are being made. Kiki onto the soft compound tyres, so looking to go fast as well in this next stint. But Dan Murphy there on the hard compound tyres, I think, trying to go to the end of the race potentially. We've got 32 laps to go. So it's doable, I would say. As Kiki comes out of the pit lane now, and I had a spin there on the exit of the pit lane as we just seen him go for it there, and unfortunately that is the Ferrari there having issues as it's a safety car. Safety car is being called out because of the incident here with the Ferrari driver, as Kiki's been disqualified there for blocking the pit lane as well. You can see that the Ferrari driver just not having any idea of how to get himself back underway, as he's been disqualified there from the race. Unfortunately for Kiki there, not good news there for the Ferrari driver or the Ferrari team as well, as Kaz is currently just outside the points paying positions. This is good news for Siege. He's onto the hard compound tyres with that pit stop. Because Max got a 3-second penalty under the safety car. That is not ideal there for the Mercedes driver, but he has got himself back underway. Has Siege. AC Immortal coming down the main straight. Will he get out ahead of Siege is the question, and of course he will have to adhere to the Delta, but here it goes very close indeed. He's got himself back up into P1, has AC Immortal there just by whisker, but Siege there will have to slot in behind now and wait for the rest of the drivers now to catch up to the safety car queue. Good news there for Swanshanks, who is struggling at the back at the moment, but he's now going to be able to get himself back up the order with the safety car, I should say. But unfortunately for Kiki, that is him out of the race, the first retirement. And well, it's actually DSQ there. So unfortunately for Kiki there, couldn't get himself sorted in the pit exit, and that has cost him a disqualification there for blocking the pit lane exit, which is well, a bit silly unfortunately, but there we go. Alright then, safety car is out, so I'm going to have a toilet break. Cracking stuff indeed. Right, we are just going to be waiting for the drivers like Kaz and Swanshanks and Jinner there to catch up with the safety car queue. Jinner's gone onto the hard compound tyres, potentially trying to get to the end of the race here. I don't think the safety car will be out too long. It might not be in this lap, but it'll probably be in the next lap. And so I'm just waiting for these drivers there to catch up to the safety car queue, and then we'll be able to get underway because the car has already been cleared. So there we go, no problems there in terms of the issues there around the track. Bannister has stayed out. He's done 10 laps on those medium compound tyres. I think he might be one to want to come into the pits very soon as well, although he's done medium, so he has got a set of hard compound tyres available to him if he wants to go to the end of the race from here. I would suggest that is quite a possibility, but he will of course have to now drop to the back of the grid if he was to make a pit stop, because the grid is now being bunched up there by the safety car at the head of the queue. But there we go then. Kaz now just trying to catch up to the safety car queue as well, and once they've done that, then we'd be back underway for some green flag running. But good stuff indeed. We've got well, our first retirement. Like I said, it's our first, not really a retirement, is it? It's a disqualification there for Kiki there for blocking the pit lane exit there. Unfortunately, that's cost everyone, as we have to now wait for the restart there of the safety car, because of course the blocking of the pit lane for some reason warrants a safety car. It should just mean that the pit lane's closed, really, shouldn't it? But there we go. As Swanshanks has decided to come into the pit lane to make a stop, so it's going to have to wait for him now. But like I said, he's trundling down the pit lane at about 80 kilometers an hour, isn't it? As he now gets the hard compound tyres set on that Alfa Romeo. And out he goes. So there we go. Then once again, we can hopefully get himself. Hopefully, Swanshanks can get himself out onto the back of this safety car train, so we can get ourselves underway for the restart of this race at the end of this lap, and get ourselves back underway with green flag running as well. But we need to get ourselves up. We need to wait for the Alfa Romeo there just to catch up to the queue. Everybody else is back in the train, so now it's just all on Swanshanks there to get himself into the train as well, and then we can crack on with the restart for this race. But like I said, won't be too long now, and we'll be able to crack on with some more proper racing. Whilst we'll watch the safety car drive around, we're watching Swanshanks actually, but we're watching the rest of the grid are behind the safety car as once again down the back straight we go. And it looks like we're going to be under one more lap of safety car because of Swanshanks there not being able to catch up to the safety car queue at this stage. So we're going to have to sit behind the safety car for one other lap as we go round once again. Oh, it's a late call there, actually. It's the safety car is in this lap. It's a very late call indeed, actually, from Bert Mylander. But he has decided to call it late. I think that was just because of the timing there of Swanshanks catching up to the safety car queue. But it was a bit unorthodox there from Bert Mylander to let it go in the last few corners. And now AC Immortal's got to get himself set and underway as soon as he can. He has, I think he's already gone, actually, has the AlphaTauri. He's already put his foot down. As away we go now on the restart there. It's caught a few drivers out there. Reflection, I think, has been caught out. Not Siege or not Kaidel. They've done a great job there on the restart there, but the gap there already to between 3 and 4 is over 1.3 seconds there. That is not a good restart, unfortunately, from Reflection there in the McLaren. But Acid Masters will be looking to get himself after this order. Here comes Kaidel there down the inside of Siege. Siege on the hard compound tyres, of course, and Kaidel on the medium compound tyres. That means the warm-up, of course, is much easier for the mediums. Albeit there's still a bit of warm up to do on the medium compound tyres, but he's got himself past now the Alpine and can trying to get himself after the AlphaTauri. But I think the AlphaTauri already has checked out in the lead of this race. Look at AC Immortal go; he's already 1.5 seconds almost ahead of P2, and really putting that gap to the test there with a great restart there on the safety car, under safety car, I should say, and good stuff indeed from the championship leader. Sorry, my nose is itching. Right then, Siege is going to be trying to get those hard compound tyres warmed up as quickly as possible. Dan Murphy and Ewok battling away into Sector 3. And Dan Murphy, I think, has made the move, has he? He has done, up into P8. There goes the Aston Martin driver. Here, of course, I think we've got penalties for speeding in the pit lane there. We've got 2 3-second penalties there for Sicker's Muck, 2 3-second penalties there for Ewok as well, one penalty there for Gino, and one for Swanshanks as well. But Dan Murphy there, I think, has picked up a penalty for speeding in the pit lane, which we saw under the entry of that under the safety car. As AC Immortal there sets the fastest lap there to try and check out in the distance there on those medium compound tyres ahead of Kaidel, ahead of Siege as well. But let's have a look and see how it's going to unfold in this race. Chewy there in P13 at the moment, still trying to keep up with the likes of Jinner there, who's on the hard compound tyres there. So Jinner has got through the tyre warm up there very nicely indeed in the Williams there, looking to set his sights on his teammate now, and then obviously for Bannister as well to get himself back in the points. But at the moment, he's sticking at it as Jinner and doing a good job there of trying to get himself back up in the top 10. And I think if he bides his time, he'll get himself up there anyway, because the rest of the drivers there, I think, will have to make, or the rest of the drivers on the medium compound tyres anyway, will have to make another pit stop at some point in this race. And I think potentially we might see some other pit stops as well, as Jinner there does get past his teammate of Vintage. Kaz has got himself past Chewy there up into P13. Goes the Ferrari up into the chicane as well, and through the chicane they go. Ferrari has overtaken the Haas there before the braking zone. Good stuff indeed from Kaz. I think everybody has made, I don't think actually everyone has made a stop, mandatory stop that is, to get themselves to the end of the race if they could. I think the likes of Dan Murphy, Ewok, Jinner and Swanshanks can get to the end of the race, as can Siege. But I'm not quite sure what or maybe AC Immortal as well, but I'm not sure if AC Immortal can do 32 laps or so on those tyres, as Swanshanks has had a problem there at the back of the grid. Unfortunately for Swanshanks, he's got himself back underway, but yeah, he's dropped down the order there on those soft combat, on the those hard combat tyres, and I think just going through that corner there at a bit too much speed, you can get the angle wrong, can't you, and then put the power down, and that is what's going to cost you, unfortunately, the grip there at that section of the track, and that has caused him to have a spin there, unfortunately, for the Alfa Romeo driver. But thankfully it's back underway with no damage there to the car, and can get himself back underway now in the battle. We're back in the battle, I should say. Reflection there in the battle there with Acid Masters and Sick Muck to try and get himself past Siege. Ewok there picks up another penalty, unfortunately for Ewok. It's not going too well there after qualifying in a pole position there. He's had a bit of a problem there since the start of the race, I should say. We're at the halfway point, I should say, now of the race itself. So we're almost there. But yeah, all the drivers there just trying to get themselves through the order now and get to the end of this race. Bannister has been passed there by Jinner. Jinner on the hard compound tyres is pushing quite hard, actually, to be fair, I would say, but he doesn't need to push as hard as he is, in my opinion anyway. But of course, what am I like? I don't know what's going on in that cockpit of the racing driver. I'm sure he's got much more sense than I have and knows exactly what he's doing compared to my simple thoughts from up here in the commentary box. But there we go then. Jinner now up into P10. They're back into points paying positions, and now trying to get himself after Ewok Jr. as well, who's on the hard compound tyres also. Good stuff indeed. Right, it's quietened down quite quickly after that safety car restart, hasn't it? Even though the cars are still quite bunched up together. This battle here for P3, it seems to be the next phase of the battle as well. Of course, with Siege on those hard compound tyres, it's allowed Reflection to get within that DRS range of the Alpine, and now pulling himself along there down the main straight. Although it seems like Siege now has got himself up to speed and he's going to try and pull away there from the McLaren. But here we go into turn 2. Siege, sorry, not Serious Mushroom, Siege and Serious Mushroom and Dan Murphy's got had a position change there between the two of them. Dan Murphy now up into P7 there, Serious Mushroom there down to P8. After the DRS, I think, was assisting the move there on the Haas there for the Aston Martin. Got himself through Sick as Muck there, trying to get himself through on Acid Masters here as we go down the back straight there towards the middle chicane. Is there going to be any moves into the braking zone here? No, not quite. I think the Mercedes has got the move done. Acid Masters there slotting in behind in P6 for the time being, so he's not doing too badly there in the Red Bull. Sorry, his Acid Masters of course started down the order as well after a bit of a difficult qualifying. I think it was anyway. I'm not quite sure exactly where he started. He started in P9 there, so he is up places there. Good stuff indeed. I was right. So that's all it needs. But good stuff indeed from Massive Masters there, plugging away in this race. And I think one of the drivers who's still technically on a 2-stop here, because he's he's on 10-lap old mediums now, and I think he's going to be going for the soft compound tyres when we get to about lap 37, lap 38 or so. Going for the soft compound tyres from there, potentially. We'll have to find out how it all unfolds. So he's got another 10 laps or so to do on those medium compound tyres, as once again Immortal sets the fastest lap of the race, a 34.0 there on lap 27 for the AlphaTauri there. He's got a 4-second lead now over Kydell. Kydell's checked out actually as well compared to Siege. He's got a 2-second gap to Siege now, which is good news for the McLaren driver. I think another driver who potentially will have to make another stop. Those two at the top potentially could pit again, and I think Siege might be able to go on all the way. So if Siege can keep the gap down to the race leaders now, then that will be very good indeed for Siege later on in this race. Of course, they will be on the soft compound tyres potentially, so they might have a bit more pace than Siege on the old hards. But there we go. They'll have to find out how it all plays out in the end of this race. Here comes Reflection now down the back straight. He's got the move done already on DRS. We can see on board with Siege there into the braking zone, and the McLaren is ahead there into the chicane, and he's got the move done up into P3. There's Reflection there, a double McLaren podium as it stands at the moment. Good stuff. Oh, sorry. I'm dying now. Good stuff indeed. So there we go. Siege, I think, will be looking to fight for that place back, though, as they push on now into Sector 3. They're trying to drop Sicker's Muck here. They're trying to push the pace here, these two, to get away from the Mercedes driver as well, who's just outside, well, just inside of that 1 second window at the moment. But I think Siege there trying to battle on to try and get himself out of the not having to defend there from the drivers behind and trying to attack just the driver ahead of him. So that's the plan there for Siege, but I don't think it's going to work just yet. He's still within 8/10 there now with Sicker's Muck, so he's going to have the DRS there down the main straight as well to try and pull himself closer to this battle here as well. Here comes Serious Mushroom now down the main straight as well. Can he use the DRS to his effect to get himself back up into P7? No dice just yet. He's dropping off the back even, I think, from the Aston Martin there. Dan Murphy trying to push on there to get himself after Acid Masters after this battle here for the final podium place, actually, as Reflection, Siege, Sicker's Muck and Acid Masters are all involved in this battle here. But Dan Murphy is 2.7 seconds or so off this off the fight at the moment, but will be looking to get himself in that realm very, very shortly in the next few laps. So Serious Mushroom there in P8 for the time being, but he's doing a good job there, Serious Mushroom, clinging on to the DRS for the time being of Dan Murphy, can use that to pull himself along. And of course, if there's any issues for the drivers ahead of him or any extra pit stops, then potentially Serious Mushroom can make some places up as well later on in this race. We'll find out. Bannister's got himself within the DRS range now of the Mercedes driver of Ewok. Ewok is at risk here of dropping outside the points paying positions, actually. Unfortunately for Ewok, that is not good news, because of course starting on pole position you'd expect him to get some good points here, and it's just gone unlucky for the not gone his way, unfortunately, for the Mercedes driver. Bannister is under pressure actually there from Kaz, though. I think those medium compound tyres on Bannister's Alfa Romeo they are getting a bit worn out here, and it might not have been the right call there to stick with the early stop there. He stopped on lap 10, didn't he? I think it was on the medium compound tyres that he started on, and put on another set of medium compound tyres. So I'm not quite sure what the strategy is going to be for the Alfa Romeo in the next stint. He might have to go onto the hard compound tyres from about now and go to the end of the race here, to be fair. But we'll find out how he goes as Kaz going very wide there, as we have got a pitter there of Ewok Jr. He's in the pits there, done 10 laps there on the hard compound tyres, I should say. He's called it a day already on these hard compound tyres. He's going to go on to the medium compound tyres instead, so he's decided to call it a day on the hards. Maybe they just weren't working. They might be one of those compounds of tyres that just doesn't work around this type of circuit, and that is him calling it a day there on the hard compound tyres, getting a nice little undercut there as well, so he can have some fresher air there to get himself back into the train there, of course, once they make their other pit stops as well. So not all doom and gloom just yet. Like I said, the undercut will play into his favour potentially as well, now that he's got fresh air there to push on and push on in as well. And of course, other drivers there will be stuck in their battles and get themselves blocked and lose themselves time as they battle on in their own phase. But Sicker's Muck, they're picking up another penalty there. I think that's 3 penalties there for Sicker's Muck, unfortunately for him. Kaz has got past Bannister there into the chicane we go in the middle sector. And he's got the move done there. Into the points paying positions now is the Ferrari, but here comes Bannister flying back at him on the exit, and a great move there from the Alfa Romeo there to get that position back. He's back up into P10 with a great exit there from the chicane, and great move indeed as Bannister keeps that position. Now he's got himself back past Kaz, and up into P10 we go. These two still battling away, but they are battling for the final points paying position. I think Bannister will have to make a pit stop very soon as well. 18 laps there on the medium compound tyres is pretty much what we saw there is the maximum from the drivers who started on the mediums in the first stint, and that it was Kaz there. What is Kaz doing there? That is a bit of an erratic move there from the Ferrari driver. That has cost him a penalty as well, unfortunately for Kaz, but yeah, it was all over the place there was the Ferrari. I'm not quite sure what the idea was there as into turn 1 we go, but he's going to be too far back there to make any moves there. Is Kaz, he just needs to bide his time and wait for the back straight. He can make the move on the back straight quite easily. We saw the extra pace there from the Ferrari. He's got himself into P10 there, into the chicane there. He just got the exit of the chicane wrong, didn't he, on the last lap. So he just needs to make sure he bides his time there, does Kaz, and gets after the Alfa Romeo. Now, all slippery there from the Alfa Romeo of Bannister on the entry to the corner there, and I think that might entice Kaz there to making a move now down the straight. We've had a move there from Sicker's Muck and Siege battling away into the chicane. Off the track goes the Alpine as he's off the circuit, and Siege let the Mercedes back through, I should say. Acid Masters there all over the back of this battle as well. And through they go there into the sector 3, and it looks like they're still going to be pushing themselves through this battle here. Acid Masters and Sick as Muck there on the medium compound tyres, and Siege just dropping off the back there to allow them through. Kaz has got himself through up into P10, and this time it has paid off there for the Ferrari driver. He's got himself up into P10 and it stays that way. Ewok picks up another penalty, unfortunately for Ewok. He's like I said, he's doing the reverse strategy there at the moment. He's on the medium compound tyres, looking to push on with a bit of an undercut and a bit of fresh air there in front of the car, instead of having to be being stuck behind all the other drivers as well who are coming through. But at the moment it's not working out with that penalty there getting added on to his race time at the end of the race, that is. Kaz there going through in the final turn. He's lost a lot of time once again to Bannister. That cornering for the Ferrari there is not going well, as now into turn 1 we go once again. Can Bannister make a move into turn 1? No, not quite. He's too far back this time. He has to bide his time for another time being, and go around once again. Here comes Siege though. Siege there lost 2 places there to Sick as Muck and to Acid Masters there on the last lap. I think being very wise there with Siege and letting everyone through there just to be safe. And of course, Siege is probably going to go to the end of this race, isn't he? So he's probably got a lot more thoughts or cares on his tyres at the moment than he is to be stuck battling with a Mercedes and a Red Bull as well. But they've gone through for the time being. Acid Masters there in 15-lap-old medium compound tyres. I don't think we'll be able to get to the end of the race, unfortunately for Acid Masters. He'll have to go on to a new set of softs or even mediums as well. But I think he's still got he's got another 5 to 6 laps or so within those tyres at the moment. Sick as Muck's there got 10-lap-old tyres, so but I think potentially we'll see Sick as Muck into the pits as well in the next 10 or so laps as well. So that would put him on lap 42 to do 11 or so laps on the soft compound tyres potentially to get to the end of the race. We'll have to find out what the strategy is going to be like. As AC Immortal though is out in the lead very comfortably at the moment as well, as he sets once again the fastest lap of the race, just in time for me to go and spectate it on lap 32 there. But good stuff indeed from AC Immortal. Is really pushing on there in that AlphaTauri and looking good indeed. 9 seconds is the gap already to Kydell. Both the McLarens are doing a good job there in P2 and P3 respectively at the moment, and looks like I think AC Immortal, sorry, I keep getting these two mixed up. Hopefully AC Immortal can get himself up into he can keep himself up in P1, but potentially go on another set of the soft compound tyres at the end or towards the end of this race, with the safety car benefiting him as well in that pit stop phase when it came out as well. But there we go. Reflection there is doing a good job there, keeping out the DRS range there of the Mercedes of Sick as Muck for the time being. Acid Masters and Siege, they're sticking at this battle there for P4 at the moment. And then Dan Murphy there, he's brought the gap down there by half a second to these three here. But like I said, I think it's just sort of faulted at the moment. But of course, these guys have got DRS to pull themselves along, and that's what's benefiting them to keep the gaps as high as they are for the time being. That is. Serious Mushroom just clinging onto the back there of the Aston Martin for the time being. Hopefully, he can keep within that 1 second window to help pull himself along. But I think he might have just dropped out of that 1 second window, unfortunately for the Haas driver. He'll have to try and get himself back in the next sector or so, because of course DRS is only available down the main straight and then the back straight, of course, in towards the chicane, and then after that it's no DRS for you. But there we go then. Serious Mushroom, they're very close indeed to the DRS range. Here comes Acid Masters once again. Can he get himself within the realms of a move on the Mercedes there for P4? No dice just yet, but he's gone a bit wide then. That might entice Siege into a battle as well. No, not quite. Siege, they're thinking twice. They're thinking about it as well, as Acid Masters off the circuit goes. Dan Murphy there, he's had a problem there on the exit of the final corner. He's got himself back underway there. He's lost a position there to Jinner there, but no other issues there for the Aston Martin, I should say. Kaz is a bit too far back there to be of any issue at the moment, as Bannister is now on to lap 22, I should say, of his medium compound tyres, trying to get himself back past Kaz, but it's not going too well, I don't think, for Bannister at the moment. I think he might have to come into the pits very soon and sort those tyres out, because we saw there most of the medium compound tyres were lasting about 18, 19 laps, and then they were coming in the pits. So I don't think it's going to be too long before Bannister either his tyres pop or he has to come into the pit lane to replace those tyres before they do. And I don't think it's going to be too long now for Bannister there. I think potentially what he might be trying to do is eke this stint out to go onto the soft compound tyres. We had a spinner there of Chewy. Chewy's had a problem there at the exit of the corner there. We just sort out the corner of the screen there. And unfortunately for Chewy, he's dropped down the order. He's not lost any positions once again. He's still doing a good job of sticking at it, but unfortunately he's dropped off the back of this pack here. And he was, I think, within the range of Vintage potentially. Now Vintage is within range of Bannister, and Bannister's trying to stay within range there of Kaz for the final points paying position as well. Good stuff indeed. There's battles all over the field now. It's pretty good indeed, isn't it? Siege and Acid Masters once again going for it again. I need to bear me 1 second. I need to blow my nose. There we go. Down the main straight once again goes Acid Masters. This time he's not made any moves, unfortunately, just yet on the Mercedes driver. Still trying to battle his way through. And there we go then. Unfortunately, no moves made into turns 1 and 2. He's going to have to try again once again later on in this lap. But again, I think the same thing with Bannister. I think those medium compound tyres for the Red Bull are just dying out a bit too much quickly compared to the drivers around him. And yeah, you can just see they're squirrely through that turn, and that's cost him time there to the Mercedes ahead of him and to the Alpine right behind him now as well. It's not looking good, unfortunately, as Gino is off the circuit. Gino's had a problem there at the exit of the same corner there. We saw Chewy had a problem there as well, didn't we? Chewy there went off the circuit on the last lap, and now it looks like Gino there has done the same, unfortunately, there on those hard compound tyres. And I was saying earlier in the stint as well, I was saying when we had the safety car restart, Gino doesn't need to push too hard on these tyres because he can get to the end on this one. And I think there's going to be quite a few drivers there who do pit on the medium compound tyres who will be switching on to another set of tyres later on. And of course, the pit stop will lose them about 22 seconds in total time as well. So there we go. On to lap 35 of 53. We've got, how many is that? We've got 18 laps to go. Not too many to go. And I think it's starting to cloud over here in the south of France. So hopefully we're not going to get some rain in the latter part of this race. It would be very devastating if we got rain, because we don't like rain, do we? But there we go. As now into lap 36 we go. Of course, Acid Masters, AC Immortal there. I keep getting those two wrong. But AC Immortal there is out in the lead by 10 seconds now. He's extended that gap massively. He's going to have almost a pit stop, I think, by the time he does have to come into the pits, because he's got another 5 laps or so to do on those medium compound tyres. Kaido as well, I think, will come into the pits, as will Reflection. And I think Sicker's Muck and Acid Masters as well. So potentially Siege, Dan Murphy and Jinner will be in the top points, or top scoring points paying positions of this race once the pit stops do take place. I would have to say, especially for Bannister, I think there's pit stops definitely incoming for the medium runners as well, because I think it's just going to be a race against time before whether they're going to come in before they pop, really, to be honest. Especially for Bannister's case, done 24 laps there on the medium compound tyres. Like I said, we saw them do about, or less than 20 laps, didn't we, in the first stint from the start of the race there for most drivers, and they all came in before they reached the 20 laps on those tyres as well. So it does look like it's maybe a 2-stop there in favour of 2 mediums and then a soft compound tyre, but potentially we'll have to wait and see what the hards are going to be like as well, because it does seem like some of the drivers who went onto the hard compound tyres really did not like them that much, did they? The likes of Ewok there, who's now on 6-lap-old medium compound tyres. He's doing a good job there of bringing the gap down. Of course, there's pit stops to come for the drivers around him, so he's not too far off, but he's gone for an undercut here. He did only 10 laps on the hard compound tyres, and he thought, I'm not gaining any time here. It's not worth me sticking on these hard compound tyres. I'm going to switch back to the medium compound tyres and go to the end of the race here, and we'll see what he can do there in the next few laps or so as the drivers do start to make their pit stops. I think Gino has been let through there by Vintage. Bit of team orders there for Williams, as he's now up into P11 is Gino, after recovering once again from another spin. Unfortunately for Gino there, he's had 2 spins this race that have cost him a lot of positions, unfortunately, for the Williams driver. But he's now getting himself back up the order there to try and get himself back in the points paying positions, that is, and trying to get himself after the Alfa Romeo, sorry, Bannister this time. And I don't think that's going to be too hard of a feat there, because Bannister's lost the DRS now to Kaz, and now the Williams there of Gino there on the hard compound tyres there, 15-lap-old hard compound tyres compared to 25-lap-old medium compound tyres. I think will be not very much of a contest there if Gino can get the move done. I'm sure he can get it done quite easily, but let's have a look there as we go down the back straight there. Bannister has lost the gap there to Kaz. There you can see here comes the Williams of Gino there with the DRS is activated as well up to the chicane. We've got the move done, I think, down the inside there. In goes Williams, and up into P10 goes Gino. Good stuff indeed. And Bannister there just, I think, didn't have much to fight with. Those tyres there don't have anything to fight with after the 25 laps that he's done on them, and he's had to come in. He's had to concede the position there, I think, to Gino without having to put up much of a fight. Unfortunately for the Alfa Romeo driver and the Alfa Romeo team, he's just gone way too long there on those medium compound tyres, and I think he's had less of an option, to be fair, because he of course pitted with 10-lap-old medium compound tyres in the first stint, so he's had to do the rest of the rest of the laps since lap 10 on these medium compound tyres that he's on now. And I think that's costing him now the time. He's staying out for the time being as well, which is just going to compound the time loss as well on that on those medium compound tyres also. But I think, like I said, if he can hold out to go on to the soft compound tyres in the next lap or two, then potentially he can get to the end of the race. We saw Acid Masters do about 15 laps in the first stint on the soft compound tyres, so potentially it's just going to be, well, it's actually, we've got 15 laps to go at the end of this lap. So let's have a look and see if there's going to be any pit stop phases, or pit stop action I should say, at the end of this lap. We've got 15 laps to go when we do cross the line this time. So let's have a look and see what's going to happen there as we come round into, oh, there's a bit of slide there from the Alfa Romeo. That's going to cost him a bit of time. He's luckily stayed within the DRS range there of Ginner, but Vintage, I think now with 20 lap old tyres himself, is going to be very interested in the battle of this Alfa Romeo battle. Vintage has got himself past already into the chicane. Oh, it's close indeed, it's tight, but Bannister has the inside for the next right-hander, and he has kept the position, I should say, just about now. Into the pits comes the race leader, AC Immortal. There, he's decided to call it a day there on the medium compound tyres. He of course started on the hard compound tyres. He did 19 laps on those hards and then switched onto the medium compound tyres now, and he's done 17 laps or 18 laps actually on the medium compound tyres this time. So there we go. He's called it a day there on those tyres. Now onto the mediums once again he goes. So he's going to go medium. He's going to go hard, medium. Medium is the AlphaTauri. So he's calling it a day there on those old mediums now. Dropping down the order, of course, with the pack so much bunched up. But he's going to come out ahead, I think, of Serious Mushroom there in P7. So he's come out in P6 there, has AC Immortal there on those fresh medium compound tyres. Good stuff indeed. And he's going to now chase down the pack ahead of him. Of course, we might see Siege. Siege has got a 4-second gap there to Immortal there, as Sickers Muck picks up another penalty, unfortunately, for Sickers Muck. That's compounding his race time there massively. I think he's now got 12 seconds of penalties, unfortunately, for him. But Siege there, he's got a 4-second gap there to Immortal. I'm not quite sure. I don't think he's going to be able to hold that back, unfortunately, as down the next straight we go. Of course, with pit stops, I think, coming for Acid Masters, for Sickers Muck, and for Reflection and Kydell, that will put AC Immortal back in the... Well, it'll be putting him in P2, I think, because Siege, I think, will stay out and potentially try and go to the end of this race here. But I think the gap might come back down in his favour there to AC Immortal, that is, because I think Immortal on those fresh medium compound tyres can really bring that gap down now with a bit of fresh air as well. Right then. So we're just waiting for the calm before the storm. I think we're going to have a few. I think we're going to have a few stops before the next the end of the race, I should say. But I'm not quite sure. We'll have to find out. Still no dice for the top five. And of course, AC Immortal has just pitted as well, so he's going to carry on as well. Out Serious Mushroom also carrying on, as is Dan Murphy for the time being. Kaz and Ginner are the next people to come round. Let's have a look and see what they want to do. Kaz. Oh, going very wide there. We're not sure where Kaz is going. Kaz is going completely off the circuit there. It looked like it anyway. But he's made his way into the pit lane there. Has Kaz. Good stuff indeed. As Ginner there takes P9 there off of the Ferrari driver there. Kaz now into the pit lane. Let's see what he's going to go on to. He's going to go on the soft compound tyres here. So he did go on the softs earlier and set a faster snap at one point. So let's see what the Ferrari driver can do now. Will it set the precedent now for the rest of the drivers to come in as well and make their stops also? So we'll have to find out whether that's going to trigger a few more stops around the field as well. Out of the pit lane he comes. He's going to drop down to the back of the grid, unfortunately, at the moment. But of course, there is plenty more pit action to come for the rest of the drivers who are ahead of him at the moment. So there's still plenty of time to go. And there we go. Kaz there through into. He's come out in P15 on the soft compound tyre though. So he's going to be setting the precedent now for the rest of the grid. And of course, if they see those times come tumbling down for the Ferrari driver, then they might consider going on the soft compound tyres themselves as well, and that will trigger a load of pit stops also. So we're on lap 40 now, 13 laps to go, as we've got Kydell now leading the race, of course. But is Kydell going to come in the pits? No, he's going to stay out now. 19 laps there on those medium compound tyres. He wants to stick at it for the time being. Reflection's done 21 laps there on the mediums. He's staying out as well, as is Sick as Muck there, 18 lap old mediums, and Acid Masters 23 lap old mediums. Siege is also on 18 lap old hard, so he's sticking at it as well. Serious Mushrooms in the pit lane. He's called it a day. That gap between AC Immortal and Siege was 4.4 seconds. It's now 2.1 within 1.5 laps, so that is a massive gain in time for AC Immortal. He's going to be easily on the back of Siege very soon. Bannister picks up a penalty, unfortunately for Bannister, picking up a penalty of speeding in the pit lane as he comes into the pits, doing 28 laps there on those medium compound tyres, I should say. Onto the softs goes Serious Mushroom. He's got himself back out of the pit lane as well, and will be able to keep his P9 position, I think. Bannister is in the pits as well to get rid of those medium compound tyres. I think that'll be a relief there for Bannister. Ewok there takes back that P10 position and can get himself hopefully back in the points paying positions as well. Swanshanks comes through for P11. Kaz coming down the pit straight as well now into P12. Bannister slotting himself back out in P13. Vintage in P14, and Chewy coming out of the pit lane now as well in P15. Like I said, still more pit stops to come as well for the drivers around him. Here comes Reflection and Sick as Muck switching places there into the into sector 3. That is Sick as Muck, I think, just getting past the McLaren driver. I think McLaren of Reflection there, struggling now on those medium compound tyres. 22 laps there on those medium compound tyres. Acid Masters on 24 lap old medium compound tyres. I think this would be the right time to make it a call into the pit box and get those tyres sorted as well. But let's have a look and see what they are going to do. Nope, staying out once again is Reflection, as is Acid Masters as well. Now AC Immortal has joined the battle here. He's all over the back of Siege, and these medium compound tyres are going to be playing a much better beneficial tyre compared to the hards, compared to the mediums around for the rest of the drivers around AC Immortal as well. Now up into P5 without a contest there against Siege there on 20 lap old hard compound tyres. Siege doing a great job there, but I think potentially he's on for a podium here if he can stay at it, because I think the drivers around ahead of him, apart from Immortal, now will have to make a pit stop very soon. Acid Master trying to defend against AC Immortal, but I don't think he's going to have much of a defence in the next straight, I don't think, as around we go now into the back onto the back straight, I should say. DRS and DRL activated for the AlphaTauri. He's already through. A bit of a dodgy move there. It looked like he was trying to go one way and then the other, and that can definitely end in a bit of a nightmare, a bit of chaos for some drivers. Kaz and Swanshanks is switching places there into turn 1. Kaz has got himself up into P11 there. AC Immortal there up into P4. He's now trying to get himself past Reflection and looking to get himself around down the inside already. Before we get into the gist of sector 3, he's already got himself through there and up into P3 as well. Has AC Immortal there now after Sick as Muck. He's got a 6.5 second or so gap there to the race lead. Has AC Immortal there. He's really pushing. He's almost pushing Sick as Muck around the corner at this stage, as you can see just how quick the fresh medium compound tyres are compared to those old mediums on the rest of the cars around him. AC Immortal is Sick as Muck still not going to pit there on this stage of the race, and I think we have got some pit action there for Reflection. He's called it a day there on those medium compound tyres. Reflection, as here comes Sick as Muck and AC Immortal there into turn 1, and I think an easy move made there once again for the AlphaTauri driver. He's got himself up into P2 now. He's got a 6.5 second gap there to the lead of the race, and I think that's going to come down very quickly indeed, especially if Kaidel's going to stay out on those old tyres. He's got 10 laps to do. He's going to have to do 32 laps in total on those medium compound tyres, and I don't think they're going to last that long, unfortunately, for the McLaren driver, and that is not good news. Not good news at all, unfortunately, as Reflection coming out of the pit lane. He's down in P8 there, and he's coming back out ahead of Serious Mushroom there. Serious Mushroom's done 2 laps on those soft compound tyres already, so looking to go great guns indeed. Let's have a look at the fastest lap at the moment. It is with AC Immortal, I think, which was set on back on lap 36, I think it was, 37, I think it was actually. So nobody on the soft compound tyres yet to challenge for the fastest lap point, but I think we might have a few coming through that very soon indeed. But here we go then. Reflection now back out underway. Everybody ahead of him, apart from Immortal, is on 20+ lap old tyres. So those soft compound tyres will be going absolutely great guns indeed in the next few laps. He's got 10 laps to go, and I think if he can probably get the gap down per 2 seconds per lap, he can probably get himself back within the podium realm at this stage of the race. I think a few drivers there have stayed out a bit too long there at this stage to warrant the next stop working, unfortunately. So Kaidel now in the pits, and that is going to relinquish the lead now to AC Immortal once again. Sick as Muck again staying out, and so is Acid Masters as well. These guys still going for it on those old tyres, and blimey, I don't know. Yeah, I think it's definitely the wrong call, unfortunately, guys. And I know you probably don't want to hear it, but that is what I am observing from the comments box at the moment. Here comes Kydell. They're back out onto the straight, and he's going to be back out in P6 there, getting himself back underway as well. Now onto the next stint. And underway there. I think they probably pitted a bit too late, I think, on this occasion. Like I said, we saw Acid Master do 15 laps there on the soft compound tyres in the first stint, and I think they probably could have afforded to pit on lap 38 to 40 or so to go onto the softs a bit earlier, and then make more use of the soft compound tyres as well. But there we go. And of course, the fuel loads are a lot lighter at this stage of the race than they were at the start of the race as well, so they'll be able to go a bit faster. But there we go. Right then, will we see Sticker's Muck and Acid Masters come in the pits, and Siege as well? Siege is all over the back of these guys. At the moment, it's actually costing him time there, I think, being stuck behind these drivers. So this is actually probably not quite good news for Siege, as he would probably want to get himself past these two and up into P2 there, just to be comfortable, because he's now got the likes of Kydell and Reflection and Serious Mushroom there on the soft compound tyres that are going to be going great guns on those fresh soft compound tyres. Swan Shank and Vintage switching places. Vintage now up into P13 as Acid Masters does pit from P3 there. He has decided to call it a day there as AC Immortal sets the fastest lap of the race once again there on lap 44 there on the medium compound tyres. Onto the softs goes Acid Masters there, out of the way, out of the Red Bull pit box he goes. He's going to be behind Kydell. I don't know if Reflection and Jinner might be getting ahead of him. Acid Masters might come out within a good spot here as Bannister and Kaz switching places into Sector 3 once again. Here comes Acid Masters out of the pit lane. Is he going to be passed by Jinner and Reflection? I think he is. Yeah, he has lost places there. Here comes Serious Mushroom as well, but no, he's a bit too far back, unfortunately, for Mushroom to get that move on the Red Bull as well. But there we go. Unfortunate scenes there for Serious Mushroom, but he's still doing a good job there within the points paying positions for the time being. Good stuff indeed for Serious Mushroom. But here we go then. The gap there coming down now to Kydell and the top four. Like I said, on the hard compound tyres, you'd expect those hard compound tyres still to be okay, I would say, for the next few laps, but they might start dropping off in the next sort of 5 or 6 laps or so, and that might come back into Kydell's favour. But we'll have to find out as Jinner and Reflection switching places there into the chicane, and Reflection has got himself ahead there on the soft compound tyres. It was not much of a contest, I don't think, really, between the two of them. The soft compound tyres, the fresh soft compound tyres, about 2 lap old, and then 23 lap old hards. It was going to be quite an easy move there for Reflection there. Up into P6 he goes, and he's now going to have to hope that Sticker's Muck is going to make a pit stop very soon. But still staying out there is the Mercedes driver. He's going to be carrying on there as Siege now is right behind him. AC Immortal there sets the fastest lap again, once again on lap 45 this time. So good stuff indeed from the AlphaTauri driver there. Here comes Siege now down towards turn 1. It's going to be side by side, I think, into turn 1. Sticker's Muck goes wide there and picks up another penalty, unfortunately, for the Mercedes driver. And there's a bit of a nudge there on the exit of the corner, unfortunately, as well, as Kydell there sets the fastest lap there on lap 45 as well. He's got the move done there, has Siege. He's up into P2, but I think Sticker's Muck may try and make a comeback there down the next straight. But Kydell there setting the fastest lap of the race there on all is into turn 1 we go with Acid Masters. I thought he was going to have a collision there. It looked close indeed between himself and Jinner, but he's made the move up into P7 now. Has Acid Masters. Good stuff indeed, and he's up the order now. Is the Red Bull driver. But yeah, Jinner, they're trying to stick it out there on those hard compound tyres, and I think Serious Mushroom might be able to get that position as well from Jinner in the next few laps or so. It is not going to be good news as well, but potentially we'll see the soft compound tyres die out as well towards the end of the stint. We never know exactly how long they're going to last, so they might die out very soon as well. We'll have to find out. But there we go then. Sticker's Muck there has stayed behind Siege there on this straight, so he's going to have to stick behind the Alpine there for the time being. Now I think those medium compound tyres, sorry, for Siege, for Sticker's Muck, there's too many S's as well now. they might start to die out in the next few laps or so as well, so that if he doesn't have to pit for a damage, because I think there might be a puncture coming in his way, unfortunately for the Mercedes, I think he might have to just defaultly come into the pits and put the soft compound tyres on, because I think it's just going to be too much there for those medium compound tyres to hang on to. He's almost dropped it a second there to Siege as well. If Siege can get outside of that 1 second window, I think that Sick as Muck's tyres will be done, because he won't be able to use the DRS to drag himself along. Kydell once again fastest lap of the race on lap 46 there. Good stuff indeed from Kydell as well. They're going great guns indeed in the McLaren now, trying to get that gap down to Dan Murphy and try and get himself up into P4. He's within range, I think, of the penalty situation for Dan Murphy, of course, with that 5 second penalty for speeding in the pit lane for Dan that was picked up under the safety car. But I think he wants to get himself past Dan Murphy and try and get himself up into the podium places as well here in this French Grand Prix. Sick as Muck still sticking behind. He stayed within the DRS range, it looked like, there through the last lap or so, which is good news. Ginner's off the circuit. Ginner's had a problem there at sector 2. He's got himself back underway. He needs to be careful not spinning those tyres up too much. He stays in P9 for the time being as well, so he hasn't lost out too much at the moment. He's still within the points paying positions as the Williams driver. But he needs to get himself composed and back underway. Unfortunately, that was a bit of a mistake there for Jenner that's cost him time, but not positions, thankfully. So he's still going to be okay for the time being. And here comes Sick as Muck there, once again staying within the DRS range there of the Alpine of Siege. And I think Sick as Muck there will be trying to get himself, will keep himself within that 1 second window, so at least he can use the DRS to pull himself along down the straights to gain him time on the McLarens that are coming at him on the soft compound tyres. So now we're going to see Kydell once again, I think, crossing the line. He hasn't set fastest lap on this occasion, but he's going to be very close indeed soon to the DRS range of the Aston Martin there of Dan Murphy. You can see them both going through turn 1 and 2. Now you can see the 1 second window as Acid Masters and Reflection switching places as well. Acid Masters up to P6, and he's got the move done there on the other McLaren into sector 2. We go now, and Kydell is within the 1 second window now of the Aston Martin ahead of us, and that is him going to be lining up a move there with the DRS assistance as well down this back straight. Can he make any moves there into the chicane? We'll have to find out. I think he might be a bit too far back there, but the DRS there is going to be very powerful, especially on those soft compound tyres. The driver of the day poll is out in the comment section. It is AC Immortal, Sick as Muck and Reflection. I'm not quite sure why Dan Murphy's in there, but there we go. Here comes Kydell there into sector 3. He's made the move there on Dan Murphy. We saw Dan and Ginner there had a problem there in the first stint, but Kydell was already swooping through without any problems there. He was already swooping through there for that position without any worries there for the on the soft compound tyres. Bannister and Ewok there switching places as well. Bannister there on the soft compound tyres as well has got himself past and into the points paying positions for the time being in this race, as it looks like Ewok trying to fight back there as we go down towards sector 3 now. But no moves made just yet. We'll have to stick with this battle because I think it's going to be close into this right-hander. We'll stay here as the both red lights are flashing on both the cars, as the soft compound tyres I think have got enough grip still for Bannister's car there to keep him in that position. He's got the position done and dusted. Elsewhere, I think just outside, or just inside the DRS range where, wasn't he, was Sick as Muck there. It's close indeed. 3 seconds now is the gap between Kydell and Sick as Muck, but I think there's so many penalties there for the drivers, as AC Immortal, unbeknownst to me, has picked up a 3 second penalty as well, but I don't think it's going to worry him at all because he's 13 seconds ahead of Siege. Sick as Muck has dropped outside of the DRS range there of Siege. Siege with no penalties is looking good for P2 for sure. And if AC Immortal makes a mistake, he could potentially be on for a win. As here comes Kydell. Kydell is now 2 seconds behind Sick as Muck, of course, with the penalty situation. I don't think it's going to be too worried about it, but he would like to get past Sick as Muck quickly because I think he could be able to get after Siege potentially and maybe go for P2. Kydell. He's about, what is that, 3.5 seconds to Siege there from the McLaren as it stands at the moment. So potentially, if he can get himself within that window, he could maybe get himself up into P2 if he can get himself get the moves done. But I think we might see the soft compound tyres start to drop off very soon as well. 5 seconds there for Dan Murphy there for speeding in the pit lane. He's currently hanging on to that. He's got a 9-second gap to Acid Masters there in P6. So yeah, looking good indeed. Reflection there in P7 there. He's got a 3-second penalty there. He will not lose out as into the pits goes. He has come into the pits now as Sick as Muck. They decided to call it a day there on the on those medium compound tyres. Let's have a look and see how many laps he's done. He's done 28 laps there. No, 27 laps, sorry, on those tyres as well. Fantastic stuff indeed. As there we go, we're back to the penalty situation. He's going to drop down the order quite quickly as well, unfortunately for Sicker's Muck. I think it wasn't going to work, because those tyres were just about dead, and I think unfortunately he had to make a pit stop or face risking a puncture, if you can get your words out that quickly. But yeah, it was just unfortunate there for Sicker's Muck there. He's going to come out the pits there in P8. He's going to be ahead of Jinner, but he has got 18 seconds of penalty, so potentially he might still drop out of the points paying positions if the other drivers behind him can stay within range. He needs to gain 12 seconds there on Jinner in the next 3 laps or so, and Bannister's there's got 5 seconds as well, so that will be he needs to gain 13 seconds on Bannister as well, so it's going to be quite close indeed. Yeah, unfortunately for Sicker's Muck, I think that long stint there cost him quite a bit, because even with the penalty situation, I think it would have been much better for him to go onto the soft compound tyres, like I said, about 10 laps ago, and try and get to the end from there. But Chewy there still battling away as well. Good stuff indeed from Chewy. Elsewhere, Kaidel's got himself now within 2 seconds there of Siege. Let's have a look at the tyres once again. 28 lap old tyres for Siege, 6 lap old tyres for Kaidel, and they're on the softs is Kaidel, and on the hards is Siege. So I would have to say I'd favour Kaidel there to potentially get himself a nice P2 position here. Now he comes down the main straight towards the you can see that Alpine in the foreground there, in his view line down the main straight, as he wants to get that move there for P2. He's going to be all over the back of the Alpine very soon, I think. He's going to be through these corners where he gains the most time. Let's have a look at this. It was 2 seconds, wasn't it, as we went down the main straight? It's now already down to 1.6. It's going to be getting even smaller there, as you can see the Alpine growing ever bigger there in our view, as it comes through now into sector 2 as well. And there it is. It's a 1.3 second gap now. He's gained 7/10 in about 3 corners, and so that is really coming down now. He's almost within the DRS range, and that will be a godsend there for the McLaren driver and for the McLaren team as well. Can he get himself up into P2 in this race and get himself an extra helping of points as well? Because unfortunately, AC Immortal there has checked out in the distance there, hasn't he? He's got a almost an 18-second gap there to Siege, albeit with the 3-second penalty that we added onto his race time, so that will bring him back down to 15 seconds. But he's done a great job there in this race, has Immortal. My driver of the day, I don't know who I should say really. Who should I put as my driver of the day? He has gained 7 places as Immortal as well. Dan Murphy's gained 10 places there. Reflection's gained 7 places, 9 places. Sorry, I can't see that. As Immortal there sets the fastest lap on lap 51 there. But Reflection has gained 9 places as well. But I'd have to say it's been a great race overall indeed, to be fair. But I'm going to go with Immortal there for my driver of the day, because he's been a star candidate. Started P8 as well on the hard compound tyres when everybody else started on the mediums or the softs even, and has done a good job of getting himself through the order as well. It wasn't a battle from P1 as Vintage has left the session there. I'm not quite sure what's happened to Vintage, which is a bit of a shame there, because Vintage thankfully was able to take the race start, and for some reason has disconnected with only 2 laps to go, which is a big shame, because he's done a great job in this race of sticking at it. As Sicker's Muck there sets the fastest lap of the race. That is good stuff indeed, because that's an extra point for himself and his team. So that he's not in the league full time this one. He's just reserving tonight, but it will be an extra point for him for the Mercedes team, which of course he does race for in the joint constructors as well in bronze. So he will get that extra point for the joint constructors for the Mercedes outfit as well. Good stuff. He has built the gap up to Jinner to over 13 seconds now as well. So that is him keeping hold of that P8 as well, to be fair. Great news indeed for Sicker's Muck there. He's done a grand job there of getting that gap up. Bannister, I think, is going to be all over the back there of Jinner as well, as we see here, because we can now see that Bannister is within the 1 second that he needs to hang on to that and actually get that P9 ahead of Jinner. Jinner there will drop down to P2 as with Vintage has been passed there by Kaz. Let's have a look back at this battle here. Is Bannister going to make a move into the chicane? He's too far back, I think, for the time being. He's had to bide his time for now. And that is it, done and dusted there for Bannister. He can stay behind quite comfortably now, to be honest, and just and collect those points now, because he's not got any threat from behind just yet. He's got a 2-second gap there to Ewok, who's on older medium compound tyres. So I think Bannister there can just sit behind Jinner for the time being. He's not going to gain anything by overtaking Jinner now, and he can just make sure that he can get those extra points, by crossing the start finish line in right behind Jinner as well, because of course that penalty will be moving back up the order. Of course, we're on to the final lap. I've completely rambled on and I've completely missed it, but we're on the final lap now. We're going to have a look here at our championship leader, as we're not going to look at that. So we're going to look at Sick as Muck there, who's got himself past Serious Mushroom there. Serious Mushroom will, of course, jump back ahead of him on the penalty situation. But Sick as Muck there, just doing his best as he can there to try and bring the gap there up as much as he can to the drivers behind him, so that he doesn't get any penalties added on that we're going to drop him out of the order. But he's now going to be, I think he's going to drop down behind Serious Mushroom, but nobody else. But anyway, enough of that. We're going to go back to our championship leader and our race leader as well now. He started from P8 on the grid, but he's driven a fantastic race indeed, has Immortal there. He's done a great job, kept it clean, kept it consistent, and he's pulled the gap when he needs to pull the gap, and he's done a great job of getting through the drivers as well, to come round the final corner of the French Grand Prix, the Circuit Paul Ricard, to win the French Grand Prix for round 11 of the ALR 100% League in Season 1 as well. Fantastic result indeed from Immortal there. I hope he didn't disconnect on that one. Good stuff indeed. He did cross the line. Good stuff indeed from Immortal there. A really good race indeed, and a fantastic win by 20 seconds to get himself another win under his belt there for himself and the AlphaTauri team once again in the ALR 100% League. Really good stuff indeed. Kaidel with a fantastic race, did get himself past Siege as well. For P2, Siege there in P3, 32 laps there on the hard compound tyres. Dan Murphy will cross the line in P4 on the hard compound tyres as well, 33 laps for him, and P4 will be his as well, 1 second ahead of Acid Masters as well in P5. Good stuff from Acid Masters as well, one of my candidates for driver of the day as well, to be honest. Reflection there in P6 there, good stuff indeed from him. Another good drive from the back of the grid. Serious Mushroom there. More points for Team Haas in P7. Sick as Muck P8 as well after those penalties were added on. Jinner there will cross the line in P9, but I think we'll lose the place to Bannister there. So it'll be P10, P9 for Bannister, P10 for Ewok, for Jinner, sorry. Ewok there crossing the line in P11 there. In the end, unfortunately for Ewok, he's been passed by Kaz as well. Kaz crosses the line in P11. Vintage in P12, although I think Vintage will be classified as P15 in this race because he did lag out. Ewok there in P13, Swanshanks they crossed the line in P14, and Chewy in P15. What a race that was indeed. That was absolutely fantastic from all the drivers who took part. A really good race. There we go. Good stuff indeed. As Sick as Muck wasn't on the podium, Farf, so I don't know why you're trying to add him to the interviews, I'm afraid. But there we go. We'll look at the podium celebrations in just a jiffy. There's AC Immortal there, walks out onto the top step to claim the winner's trophy as well for the French Grand Prix. Great stuff indeed from Immortal. Once again, another fantastic win from him. Kaidel there in P2 as well in the McLaren, and Siege in P3. Good stuff from those drivers. Perfect stuff then. Hopefully I'll get a couple of drivers in the interviews, but I'm not quite sure who Farf's actually added into the interview, so we'll find out. So yeah, we'll see. But there we go then. There is your classifications there for the French Grand Prix. Immortal there P1 with a fantastic win from P8 on the grid. Kaidel with a 2-stop as well in P2. Siege in P3. Dan Murphy P4, both on 1-stops, but they made it stick just about on those hard compound tyres. Acid Masters there P5 after starting P9 as well. Reflection P16, P6 I should say, after from starting P15 that is. Serious Russian P7, Sick as Muck P8 after those penalties were added on. Bannister did get that P9 position. Jinner there just in the points as well in P10. Kaz in P11, only a second and a bit just outside of the points paying positions there as well. Vintage there in P12, Ewok in P13, Chewy in P14, Swanshanks in P15. Unfortunately, Kiki, our only retirement, wasn't really a retirement either as well. It was a DSQ from the session there, and that is him down in P16 for the French Grand Prix. Good stuff indeed. Right, unfortunately, I don't think anybody's joined us for the interview, so we're going to have to wrap it up there. But what a race that was indeed. The French Grand Prix is done and dusted there for the 100% League. Fantastic stuff indeed from all the drivers who took part. And of course, we'll be looking. We've got a week's break now, but for all the leagues now for 1 week. So next week there's no races in ALR. We're going to have a nice rest, and I hope you have a nice rest as well. But we'll be back, of course, for in 2 weeks' time there for the 100% League. But in 2 weeks' time on the, I think it's the 19th, I would say, the 19th for gold, the 20th for silver, the 21st for bronze, and the 22nd once again for the ALR 100% League. So stay tuned to ALR. No action next week, but there'll be much more action coming up to you in just